My goat's very jumpy tonight.
We have Big Stew and Little Stew. They're running
Whoa,
yard.
you got a bag of kids. You got a bag of kids.
We sure do.
That's nice. What a great way to start the show. Bringing some youth into the show. I like it.
There's
All right, yo.
actually, I don't know if you probably can't tell because it's part of the Hide the Stew, Hide the Goat, but there's one up in the Let's Go sign too.
I can very faintly see that.
Yeah, with the
On my little
brightness and
screen.
glare, I would
Yeah,
imagine the white goat is hard to see in there.
it's an electric stew up
So
there.
it is an electric stew. That sounds like a new song. It's right
Yeah,
under the S.
that sounds like the name of a band from the
It
80s,
reminds
right?
me
Yeah.
of a Rival Sons song. They have Rival Sons has a song called Electric Head, I think, or Electric
Okay.
Man. And it makes I have that music going in my head ever since we said Electric Stew.
See, now I was thinking of the band Electric Youth. Remember them?
Electric Youth. No, but I know the Debbie Gibson song Electric Youth.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Well, I know Electric Youth was like an 80s thing, and I thought that was a name of a band, but anyway. Yo, YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Glad to have you with us. This is the live show we do every Wednesday, 8 Central Standard Time. Myself, Charlie from JC3 Cards and Collectibles, and Stuart the Goat. Couple of Stuarts, dueling Stuarts. All right, so we've got a few topics tonight. We want to talk a little bit, give you a slight update on the Goat Show. Let's see, we want to talk about the Superb Owl that's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks. And let's see, what was the other thing? Pokemon and all the rage that's being put behind that. There are stores that will no longer be carrying Pokemon because of people fighting in aisles, and it's really weird. It rings back to that time during COVID when sports cards were like that. But it's like, why is Pokemon like that now?
Yeah.
The products aren't really short printed, and I don't know. It's interesting, and clearly those that are out there boxing in the middle of a store for these things, they're doing it for the flip money. You wouldn't be doing that just to get a box of cards to bring home. So
you would imagine so, yeah.
You would imagine so. It's very, very interesting. And then also to add on to that, we've got the timing of McDonald's doing their Pokemon promotion. We did a family McDonald's night, which I heartily regret because their food is absolutely terrible. So, we get McDonald's maybe twice, 3 times a year, something like that. I'll do it once in a while, like if I'm out and about by myself, because they got the $5 meal thing now and decent value. But man, I don't know. I like once a month is probably the most I could eat that. And I don't have a fantastic diet, so it's not like it's way outside the realm of my normal diet. But it was rough. We were all struggle busing it a bit.
Yeah, I never leave there saying that was a great choice.
Yeah, exactly. And then cost. So I've got 4 people in my house.
Yeah.
I can get a really nice. Now we love Popeyes. I know there's this Popeyes versus whatever argument out there, but we love Popeyes, and I can get this build your own family dinner thing. So I can get like 3 sandwiches, or someone can get strips, and then you get like 4 or 5 sides, couple biscuits, whatever, and it's like $25, $26, which isn't bad nowadays. Feed a family of 4 for $25 is a heck of a deal. McDonald's, all I got was Happy Meals, and then for Grandpa, I had to throw another sandwich on there, and I got like an extra fry because you just get those little teeny tiny fries. So I got 1 more fry for like the 3 of us to split. That was it. And it was like $31. It was crazy. Now I did have an in-app coupon for 20% off or something like that. It ended up being like $26. So it was basically comparable to a Popeyes order, but I had to go through like the hoops and order in the app and like do all the things in order to get that.
Yep.
For in my opinion, a much less quality meal.
Yeah.
Now the fact that I've probably got 30-40 bucks worth of Pokemon cards here, that's what makes it worth it for me. But
Right. But yeah, you kind of gotta go through the app these days too, or you're paying quite a bit more.
yeah, I only order through the app for anywhere that I go now. It's just worth it. And it was really nice tonight because um, Luna she has voice lessons on Wednesday night, and I take her to her voice teacher's house. So it worked out perfect. I ordered everything ahead of time, and then I just went and dropped her off. I ran over because her lesson's only a half hour. Ran over to the McDonald's and picked up my order from there. Came back, got her, and then went home. So if I was like to stand in there and try to read, and yell into this stupid crappy microphone, I need this, that, and this dip for that nugget, and then when you try to do anything for 4 people at a fast food restaurant, it's a freaking nightmare.
Yeah.
Because they can't get any of it right, and
Right.
we don't even do anything special. We're not like, okay, this hamburger no ketchup, this hamburger extra onion. Like, we don't do any of those games. We just order the food, and they still don't get it right.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
When we went last weekend, so we got an order for 5 of us. We got 5 Happy Meals and just like an extra McDouble and a double cheeseburger. And it was not, first of all, it was not ready when I got there, despite it saying, "Come on over, your food is ready," right?
Mm-hmm.
So then we had to pull around and wait for 10 minutes. Then they brought it out like part of the order, and they're like, "So what else did you need yet?" And I'm like, "Don't you know that?"
Yeah. Well, you can tell them whatever you want, I guess.
Yeah. And then they went back in and they came back out with a little bit more. And one thing was something we already had. And they're like, "Well, you can just keep that one then." And then again, they're like, "So what's still missing?" And then they finally went back in a third time and finally got it right.
Did you order in the app?
Yeah.
And they still got it wrong.
Yeah.
See, I at least have a little better luck if I order myself, because at least I hit all the buttons. The person taking the order didn't screw it up. But yeah, you're still counting on them to be able to fill it, which apparently is very
challenging. Yeah, they got to read the screen.
So, you know what else ticks me off, since we're on this topic of upset food items? Salsa jars.
Salsa jars?
Salsa jars. They make a salsa jar so that you can't get into the bottom of it when it gets down real low, because you can't get your hand in there.
You're supposed to pour it into a salsa dish.
No, Charlie, it's already in a dish. You should be able to eat it out of that dish.
I think it's too tempting for double dippers, so they're trying to protect you against double dippers.
Well, I don't share, so that's not going to be an issue. So anyway, those are my food rants for the evening. But I did okay in the Pokemon packs. I got a couple of Dragonites, which is like one of the better selling holograms. The little activity kits, I was surprised. We were talking about this before the show started. I was surprised that they sell as well. But when I opened the first one and I got a Charizard one, which of course is always the character everyone wants anyway, it's like, hey, these are kind of neat. It's got the little map in there, a little poster, and you get the sticker sheet, activity sheets. Yep. I'm like, I bet these might go for a couple of bucks. And then sure enough, I looked them up online, and yeah, the Charizard ones are going for like $5-6. I'm like, yeah, why not?
So the packs, did you open them up then, or did you?
Oh yeah.
Are you looking to sell them whole?
No, I opened them up. I list single
kept mine sealed. I just flipped them in 20 minutes and sent them all out the door.
Well, but I am trying to build inventory in a second store and doing more gaming cards and non-sport cards. So it was good. It's good inventory for me. So that's why I'm doing it that way. Now, if I'd have found a prismatic ETB, I would have sold that. I wouldn't rip that. But
yeah, I did the same with that too.
The $3, McDonald's packs. No, I'm gonna open them. One of the Dragonites I already sold for $6.50. So I got more than a Happy Meal price for one card right off the bat, at least. But
Yeah, I
but
sold
no,
the
I
4
want
packs in a lot for $20.
right. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's about right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I want more Pokemon inventory, so that was the main reason that I went and did it, was to have some more singles to add.
Sure.
Yeah, so that was today's Pokemon adventure. Um, the the prismatic ETBs, well, actually any of the prismatic products, the what are they? The folder and they come in like 3 different assortments, right? The binder, and there's one other assortment. Um, I'm not that familiar with Pokemon, as you can tell, but it's crazy that how much they're selling for still. The prices come down some, but Pokemon even came out and said they were going to print more. So
Right.
I don't get the drive behind that, but we'll find out, I guess. I don't, we'll have to see if more is out there. I haven't had any luck running across any. I haven't like been running to the stores or anything, but as if I happen to be somewhere, of course I'll go look, and I haven't seen any on
Yeah,
any shelves or anything.
I was in my local Target today, and the shelves again looked like a tornado went through. There was like nothing there. The one prismatic ETB I found last week, that was someone had tried to hide it. It was
Mhm.
not where it belonged. It was in the corner of a shelf, like 10 feet away from where the Pokemon cards were supposed to be. And I was like, oh, what's that little sparkle back there? And I picked it up, and sure enough, that's what it was. So I didn't put it down again. I walked right out with
Right,
it.
right. Yeah, obviously. It's interesting. I wonder why somebody didn't just buy it. Why would you stash that? I guess if
They
they
must
didn't have
not
the
have the
money, but
money, or they had to
yeah,
go ask
yeah,
mom, maybe. Maybe I ruined the
yeah.
kid's night. I don't know.
I don't know. Strange. But it's funny because I remember the exact flip of that in like 2021, where you go in and all the sports section was completely obliterated, but there was a bunch of Pokemon packs you could
Yeah.
buy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's sports card flippers that are like, well, it's too hard to do that with sports cards now, so now let's pump up the um, Pokemon stuff and drive the prices up of that. I don't know. That's very, very odd.
Right now, both are empty, though. I mean, there was like maybe 5 choices of blasters, and there was about 5 of each. So maybe
Yeah.
25 blasters on the shelf, and that was it. Some fat packs hanging there, and that's about it.
Yeah, kind of your usual suspects. You see a little bit of like Topps Heritage and
Yep. Mm-hmm.
some
Darlington
Score.
here.
Yeah, you'll find a couple of the not as popular type products, hanging there, and that's about it. And yeah, that's kind of what I run into too. I haven't even been able to find more sticker packs. I bought out the couple boxes of sticker packs,
Yeah, I didn't see that today either.
and yeah, and Walmart's been really dry. I never find anything there.
Yeah.
And all the Uno boxes are gone now. That was where I could just go and at least if I didn't find anything in the card aisle, I could go back by the card game aisle and pick up a couple Uno
Yep.
packs. But
That's been
that
picked
stuff's all
over too.
gone too. Yeah, so it's crazy for as interesting as our economy is in certain areas. Cards still keep going. So hopefully
Yeah.
we'll continue to see that in our since we're trying to sell stuff. That would be good. It's kind of that
Speaking of,
delicate. It's that delicate balance, right? Like you want to be able to find stuff to sell, but you don't want too much of it out there.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, yeah, it's easier said than done. And it doesn't take too much to push the lever one direction or the other. So you have to kind of watch. But yeah, I was actually really impressed with this. I expected to just see like a pack of cards in the box because
Right.
I don't follow this. I didn't know what they would look like. And I got this little box thing, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I opened it up, and the pack was in there. And then I thought, don't tell me these were replacements because they were out of packs. I
That
was
was
like,
what I
I am,
thought. 'Cause that's the first thing
yeah.
I saw in him.
I was like, I am going to punch someone in the face if that's what you did to me. And I opened it up, and the pack was in there, and I'm like, oh, there's like a poster or something. And those have actually caught my attention more in recent times because you can't get posters anymore. They don't make them. Kids don't hang them on their walls anymore and stuff.
Yeah.
But I started doing that with the Sports Illustrated for Kids. I would take the posters out and sell them, and I sell them. I sell it pretty much every month. The posters sell, and so I thought, Pokemon poster of Charizard. Somebody's got to want that. There's no way. And I'm sure posters come in some of their other packaging and things, but I thought, with the sticker sheets and stuff, I'm like, somebody's got to want this,
Sure.
And sure enough, yeah, you can almost sell these for more than the cards. So that kind of doubled the value in a way to me, because I was like, okay, the pack is probably worth $4 or $5, but if the little activity pack is worth another $4 or $5,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty decent, in your $5 Happy Meal. So.
And then I when I was going out on eBay to see how things were going with those, I saw people were selling full cases of them. And
Yeah.
Mrs. JC3, whose birthday is today, by the way, happy birthday!
Oh, happy birthday!
She was telling me, she's like, well, you don't even have to get a Happy Meal to get them. You can just go up to the counter and ask for a case of them. I was like, what?
I don't think that's true.
I don't know. She said, yeah, people were just going up to the counter and asking for the packs, and they were selling just the packs.
Well, they might sell just the packs, but I doubt they would sell you a case.
Well, I think if you work there, it's pretty easy to get one.
Yeah, well, that's where they're getting them from. It's employees backdooring this stuff. That's where that's coming from. Yeah, I mean that's been happening with fast food premiums for years and years and years. I remember that back when Star Wars came back and it was such a big deal, and the even like the cups, the collector cups at like Taco Bell and stuff, and there was cases of that stuff on eBay back then, and that was before people even really did eBay to the scale it is now.
Like this stuff?
Yeah, kind of like that, but it had like a topper on it. So there was like one that was like Yoda shaped that was on, went on the top of the cup and your straw stuck out of it, and
I had to see
Darth
what
Maul
I got here. I got Julius Irving, Patrick, and Magic. I sold a couple of Jordans already, and I think it was Larry Bird I sold too.
Okay, that makes sense. Those are all big sellers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to. The other thing I kind of wanted to touch on. We'll get into the chat in a little bit, but I just wanted to talk about January sales a bit. Just watching some other videos of some sellers, and January sales weren't very good, going very well, and I found the exact opposite. This has been one of my best months in a long time. I'm out of auctions, so I'm kind of stuck with that, but where I'm at with the results on that. But I think it's due mainly to I'm more of a football card seller than anything else. And if you can't sell football cards right now, you're probably not doing anything right.
Yeah.
Because it's, everybody's been watching it. I also feel like January always does well for me because people got their money for Christmas and they're, spending it. It's an indoor month, right? You don't have as many people going on vacations or camping for the weekend or, spending the extra money on that stuff. It's like you're sitting in your house all day. At least where we live, you are.
Right.
And I feel like, sales pick up that way. Now that we're getting towards the end of January, now baseball has really picked up. I've sold a ton of like Junior Caminero and like some of those more fringy rookies. Who's this other going to get the name wrong, so I was going to look it up.
You're going to butcher it.
Probably. Oh, I think it's in this one. Hold on.
What? So, about 6 months ago, you were talking about Noelvi Marte. Is that who you're going to tell me?
Yeah, no. Let's see. Is it in this one? No, this is the scan pack. Dang it! Where did I put that? I have a bunch of packs here that I did today, and I can't remember which one it was in. I can't remember his name. It's that like pinball looking insert from Topps Calm.
Okay.
Let's see up here. It's a nice one. These are all metal. Well, anyway, can't think of his name off the top of my head for some reason. But I've been starting to buy like prospects, like Drew Jones. Maybe it's in here. I got my 2 boxes of metal, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that I'm really focused on the baseball this year. I think that's going to be the big move. I can see the numbers are definitely favoring that, especially as far as sales.
Yeah.
You know, what's interesting is once you kind of get your store full, yeah, then you got to start kind of like tweaking it. You have to like, well, now how can I make money out of this? And without adding listings, right? Because
Right.
the easy way to do it when you have 10,000 listings is, well, just keep listing, and that is what you should do at that point. But then you get to another level where you go, okay, well, now I need to make my store more efficient and get more sales out of the listings I already have. This is driving me nuts. Where did I put these? I think this is all Pokemon, isn't it? Maybe not. Ah, here it is. Kyle Manzardo.
Okay.
Kyle Manzardo. And it's not the pinball one. It's this Rookie Rush
Yeah.
refractor insert. So yeah, I'm starting to look at like some more outside names. This Nolan Ryan, I listed this one today. It sold like instantly, so I have to ship it tomorrow already. It's a Donruss insert, but I feel like football has more of a season of when the sales occur, and baseball is like freaking year round.
Yeah.
Because it's the prospects, and then it's the playoff team guys, and then it's the vets, and then it's, like there's just always something going with it.
Well, and my thoughts on that too from doing my liquidity list, and we've talked about this on the show before. I still say baseball is king. Baseball has the biggest market. So you're just naturally going to get more sales year round.
And I would sort of agree with you. And sort of, I think there's another reason why. Because there's more players to buy on each team than there are in other sports. Okay, so if you go to football, football for the most part, with some exceptions, of course, like anything, you got your quarterbacks, a few wide receivers, and a few running backs, and that's basically the market. And then, yes, you can sell a center, and you can sell a punter, and you can sell those guys, but that's really not. You're not going to get a lot of heat out of that. You're not going to pay your bills selling punter cards. But in baseball, you've got, let's take the Yankees, right? Let's take one of those big teams that there are team collectors, there's player collectors, there's, that kind of thing. You've got Judge, you've got Stanton, you've got Volpe, you've got Garrett Cole, you've got, like there are just names upon names upon names in baseball that, like Bobby Witt Jr., that still surprises me. I know he's pretty good, but is he that good? Like, I'll get a stack of Bobby Witt Jr. cards and I'll list them and I'll sell every single one within a week.
Yeah, he's a top 10 seller.
His stuff just flies. And I'm like, but why?
Because he is
and a lot of times I can find them in like dime boxes and quarter boxes. It's hard to find Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, those guys in quarter boxes.
Because he plays for Kansas City, that you can still find him.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, that's true. They both play for Kansas City. Bobby Witt Jr. does too. But
that's what I'm saying. Because he plays for the Royals, which in baseball is not a big market.
Power team. Right.
Yeah,
right.
not a power team.
Right.
Even though he's a star player, he's readily available. Yeah.
But that's my point. It's like, it's hard to find a player like compared to that into like football where you can get those kind of liquidity without them being on like a big name team and a big name position, that kind of thing. I don't know. That's just been kind of my observation as I've been doing more and more baseball, and I know more of the young players now and players coming up and that kind of thing, and that hopefully will be to my advantage as well.
Yeah.
Like I'll find random Julio Rodriguez Bowman prospect cards in like quarter boxes. I mean, you can still get $5-6 for those, and they sell fast. Like it's not like you're sitting on them. Okay, last year we were buying, Pacheco rookies, right? The running back for the Chiefs. Can you sell any of those now?
Not very well.
Exactly. So I think it just and then you're right, you have the historical significance of baseball cards. It's the big, the sport that everything started with, and you have more history with it, with the pre-war games and all that kind of stuff where football's, if you look at it, the popularity of it especially, it's pretty young sport.
Yeah.
So I still think vintage football is a better play for me. I feel like I have more like there's more business potential for vintage football, because vintage baseball's the prices have gotten high, and so many people watching it, so many people selling it and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Football kind of sleeps a little. It gets past people a little bit, and that's been a good niche for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be really interesting on Sunday. We have a card show on Sunday that we're going to be set up at the KI Center in Green Bay. So if you're out and about, looking for something to do and you're going to be in Green Bay, stop by and visit our table. But I think a lot of my buys are just going to be baseball this weekend, which is crazy. Sure. It sounds crazy in my head. But I also find it easier to find football over anything else where we are. And I think that's another thing that sort of naturally gravitated me towards focusing on football card sales, because I can find a stack of Barry Sanders cards at almost every show I go to.
Yeah.
Versus, can I find a stack of Derek Jeter cards? Not usually. I usually have to go buy a big bulk lot on eBay or something, because I just don't. Now that I'm digging in it a little bit more, I'm looking for it more, I'm finding more. But it doesn't seem like it just floats to the surface. Like if it's a sports card seller at a show we're at 99% of the time they're going to have football cards.
Right.
But only 10% of the time are they going to have, basketball and baseball and football. You know what I mean? And we live in Green Bay, so that's part of it. The professional sport is right here, but yeah, so that's kind of it for the January sales thing. It's been very good for me. December was good. The second store has been doing really good. I've been doing between $30 to $50 a day on the second store. So if you add that in, that's a nice boost in sales. And that, of course, is not sports at all. It's Pokemon, Digimon. Garbage Pail Kids have been doing really, really well. Marvel cards, stuff like that. Got a bunch of Overpower cards. I love these cards, and for whatever reason, they're not in Card Dealer Pro. But these Marvel game cards, have you seen these before?
I haven't.
Yeah, they're called Overpower. I've been buying them for a couple of years out of like dime boxes and stuff, but these are the ones where it's like they got the character kind of border on them. And then there's these where it's more like action shot type stuff. Think of like, have you ever seen the Transformers cards that came with the toys in like the mid 80s? The Hasbro ones? That's what these remind me of.
Yeah, I can see that.
They got the rounded corners and then like the full art and stuff. And They just look cool. And then there's these character ones where it says like thing, and then it has like his attributes on there. And the cards are awesome. Like,
Yeah.
how do you have a Marvel card set not appear in Card Dealer Pro? Like, what are you doing? These are from
Yeah, I
'92.
usually
It's not
find
like they're
most of
new.
them are out there.
I mean, Ushis are out there. My lovely DC Ushis are out there. You would think a Marvel card game would be out there before this. The little toy cards,
I
But
do find that sometimes you got to mess around with the name a little bit. Like sometimes it's not in exactly
I did.
as you would think. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been dying to get those on there, and I listed a whole bunch by hand because I wanted to get some on. But I've tried Overpower as 2 words. I've tried 1993 Marvel, just kept it very generic, and
Yeah.
nothing comes up. I've tried card numbers. I've tried, I've even scanned them in as non-sport cards, and I've scanned them in as game cards.
Okay.
Thinking, okay, well, maybe for whatever reason they got on the non-sport, even though it's technically a card game, and
Yeah.
nothing. Nothing shows up with them. So I was really shocked when I scanned it in Ushi today, and the Ushis were in there. So
I gotta go back to the baseball discussion for a minute because I pulled up some numbers that I was looking at as you were talking through it. Patrick Mahomes, the last time I did a liquidity list for football, Patrick Mahomes, of course, was at the top of the list, right?
Sure.
And I just did an updated baseball one, and I have the numbers in front of me.
I watched it, Charlie.
You did?
I did, wow. Yeah. Ohtani's still on top. Spoiler alert.
He is. The lead shrunk a little, but I mean, he's still so far ahead of Judge.
Yeah.
But
it was like 31,000 cards or something. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, and that's with his numbers down about 40%, 44%, I think it was. Yeah,
it's crazy.
But what I'm looking at here that to me says a lot about the difference between baseball and football markets. There are 9 players on my baseball list that outsold Patrick Mahomes. 9 players in baseball outsold him. 9 of the top 10 outsold Patrick Mahomes, the top selling football card player.
And it's the height of the football season, and baseball is dormant.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty telling. You're not wrong. So I like a lot of the baseball products better. That draws me in because I like Topps products better than, and I think there's better value in them.
Yeah.
In what you get, the quality of cards. The Hall of Fame cards are cool. Like any Babe Ruth cards, Mickey Mantle cards. Not that they don't do that in football. There's Joe Namath is in every set and all that, but they don't make a lot of Bart Starr cards. I would love to get some Bart Starr cards in sets. They hardly ever include him. I just think the baseball and football products will get better as Topps gets more involved. I loved Composite. Composite is one of my favorite sets of all time. And it's not even licensed because who cares? I don't anyway. But so I believe that football has a lot to gain, once Fanatics is doing it, or Topps is doing it, I should say. But even with that, it's just baseball just seems to really have something to go on. And what I kind of want to do is pick up my baseball. I'm football heavy, although that's receding. It has been receding some, but I'm going to start building a lot more baseball because I want to diversify, obviously, so that I have more sales, regular sales all year long, instead of this is a really good month and this was not that great a month.
Yeah.
And once I fill the non-sports store, I'm coming back to the original store, and I'll create that as an anchor store, and I'll have a lot more room to build out. So I want to make sure that I'm not just constantly building out football, just installing more football cards and paying to do that. So that's kind of my plan. Basketball, I'm just doing the basketball that I know I can do, that will sell. And I really like the mid-90s type stuff, inserts and that kind of thing. I'm going to probably keep my focus on that. And just a few of the moderns, even Webb and Yama. I've got some Webanyama. I got some decent Webanyama cards, and they don't sell. Unless you want to price them way under market or something. It's just I don't find as many buyers.
Yeah.
Versus, I can take like a stack of rookie cups, so essentially second year Bobby Witt cards. I can scan 20 of them in there, and they'll be gone in a day. It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Crazy. So
did you see all the rookie cup Bobby Witts and the Ellie De La Cruz rookies I found in value boxes at Tim's this past weekend?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that I was just finding them left and right. I'm like, what? I'm not leaving here.
Right. That's kind of what I'm hoping for Sunday too, because that's sort of what we did last year. We did buy a lot of baseball last year right around this time. 10-cent Otanis and stuff.
I found a couple of Otanis too.
Yeah, I'll buy every single one of those. I did find some good ones at the LCS yesterday when I was there. That's not the store's cards you're buying. It's all consignment from customers and stuff. So it's kind of like digging through show boxes in a way.
Except you can't really negotiate much.
Can't negotiate much. Yeah, I have kind of a regular customer small discount that I get when I go. But yeah, that would obviously be a disadvantage. But you can also walk in at any day and just shop. You don't have to wait for a Saturday show or drive all the way out to Tim's. Because Tim's can be a crapshoot. I've been to some of those shows and I don't really hardly find anything. So, just kind of look up a little bit of the luck of the draw. But that can be solved by going to the Goat Show, because the Goat Show has something for everyone. So one of the things that, should we get into some chat? We're going to start getting pretty behind.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
We're going to talk a little bit about the Goat Show and something new and fun we're doing with that. And then I want to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl and the games that led up to the Super Bowl. And then I'm also going to scan in my Flaming Carrot card set tomorrow. So I wanted to talk about that because Flaming Carrots are the best. All right. I saw some weird stuff, Charlie. All right, we'll start here with Peter. He says, yo, YouTube. You stole my line, dude. Welcome. Thanks for coming here. Boom Slang's back. He says, yo, welcome back. Glad to have you. Art says, evening all. Odd Merchant says, disco stew. Yeah, kind of. Listing cards while listing. That while listening. Perfect. That's exactly what you should be doing. Just so everyone knows, we obviously record this and play it later. So those of you watching recorded, try to join us live so you can be part of the chat. It's a lot more fun. We're here every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Every Wednesday except one. And I was mostly dead. Yeah. Boomslang's talking about people wrestling over Pokemon. People are jerks. Soon guns will pop out, just like it did with the sports cards and all the flippers. You know what's funny about the whole thing with that? Okay, so an ETB costs. You just bought one of these. An ETB at Target costs what? $55, $58 plus tax. So basically $60. Let's say $60. And what is it selling for online right now?
I know the one I sold the other day, I sold at 125.
125.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that was with packs. Didn't you have the McDonald's packs?
No, I had the ETB listed at 125 alone. Yeah.
Okay, 125. So you paid 60. You sold it for 125. You got eBay fees, so you've got at least $12 to $15 coming out for that. Mm-hmm. Did you charge shipping on top of that?
No, I had that bundled in. So there's another
$10, $8.
$8, I think it was. $8. Yeah. Oh okay, no, so it was less than $6. It was Wisconsin, Oregon. It was $5.78.
Oh, you got lucky. Yeah. You got lucky. But let's just say on average, if wherever you would send it in the States, it'd probably be around $8.
Yep.
So you've got, what does that come out to now? No, I can't remember what we had for the total. So it was $8 for shipping, and then what? $15 for fees, let's say,
something like that, and
something like
supplies.
that. So 23 plus 60, so you're paying like $83 for it, right?
Yeah.
In total expense, plus shipping supplies, if you had to buy a box or something like that. And then you sell it for 125 minus your 60, so you get $65, but then you have your expenses in there. So you're making what, like $30?
Yeah, 30, $40.
Is that about right? So
Yeah.
these people are beating the hell out of each other in an aisle of a retail store for $30. I don't know. It just seems kind of extreme. And
Yeah.
you don't know and you don't even know when it's going to be stocked. So now you're spending your time like hovering around these places. I guess if you're way into it, you could spend even more time and kind of follow the restocking routes and things like that. If that stays true, and maybe get yourself in there. But I don't know. It just seems like I could literally just buy a couple. I bought like a box of those sticker packs, which no one wants, and I can sell I can make $30 on those sticker packs in no time
Yeah.
without having to wrestle anybody for it. So it just, I don't know. It feels more than it needs to be for what you're getting out of it. Let's see. Freddy's steak burgers are my go-to fast food. I just went to Freddy's this past week, and I thought they were pretty good too. If you don't like smash burgers, it's kind of not for you. Some people are like, "Oh, the meat is so thin," and it's like, well, it is, but it isn't, because it's the same weight of hamburger. It's just all pressed down, so it's thinner, but there's more density in the patty. I guess it's not a big juicy burger kind of thing.
I can't
So if you're not
remember if
into
I've
that,
been there yet or not. I definitely haven't been to the one in my area here, but I feel like maybe in my travels for work and stuff, I went to one a year or two ago somewhere else.
that's weird that you haven't gone to one by you. It's really close. Like
I
it's right
know.
over by Costco. Yeah, we've been there a couple times. We don't go real often, and I live nowhere near there. So it's kind of a special trip for us. But yeah, we like it. Luna likes the little shoestring fries that they have,
Okay.
those style fries, and they make their own fry sauce. That's really really good too. So if you're into like dipping sauces, which she is, um, that's a
Who's
highlight for
not?
her too. And they make a really good patty melt. To me, you can judge the value of a restaurant by its patty melt or its chili. And they don't serve chili, so I judge it by its patty melt, and their patty melt's really good. So anyway, I went to my LCS and rummaged through quarter boxes today and listing them now. That's what you got to do in between shows and things like that. Grab some stuff and get stuff listed. I saw boxes of stuff to list, so I haven't been too aggressively buying, other than when we're at shows. I found a 2011 Topps vintage stock. Oh, like at the store? Is that what you're talking about when we were talking about finding packs? 2011? That's crazy. I did see some people posting online that there were some older packs being sent to some of the retail stores. Like somebody found a 2018 football pack at Walmart.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, just some random ones. So I don't know if it's just like the company that fills like the shelves and stuff. I don't know if they just had some random stuff laying around that they're putting out now. I don't know. Mariano Rivera for $3. Yeah, can't go wrong with Mariano Rivera. 2 burgers, 2 fries for $2.22. I miss those days. Those days are not coming back.
Yeah. I saw the Fed held the interest rates today, so no change on that.
Yeah, because inflation's a tad high right now. It's not terrible, but it's not quite where they want it to go.
That's not what Fox News told me was the reason they held it.
Oh, Charlie. Okay. Good morning, evening. I think he meant everyone. Or good evening, everyone. Hey Troy, how's it going? Or if you're truly saying good morning, where the heck are you? Are you in Australia or something? Or you're time traveling? In high school, I could get a 6-inch Subway, a pack of Marlboros, and 4 gallons of gas for $10. Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know if you could get the Marlboros for $10.
I was just talking about that the other day. In high school, I was talking with my wife a little bit about we filled up the truck with gas, and it's still a crazy amount, even though we were at Costco and it saves a lot. But I was like, remember in high school when it's like you'd put $4 or $5 in your car
Yeah.
to get through the whole week?
Yep, I remember that. Yeah. But I also most of my years in high school, I was only making like $4 and something an hour.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that stuff's all relative, you know. That's the thing where like when people want to push out, and I'm my brain is built for economics, so I have to sometimes remind myself that not everybody can think this way. But when people are pushing for wages, um, oh, we need a living wage. Our wage shouldn't be $8; it should be $17. I'm like, you do realize all they're going to do is jack the prices up of everything.
Yeah.
Like the employer never actually pays for anything.
There's no free shipping in life.
No. So, and like, you have to watch how much you're pushing for because you're going to end up, the other side is going to get you.
Yeah.
You're better off just sort of evolving things up a little bit. That's why when people are like, well, I make this much now when I start this job, but I should get raises. And I'm like, yeah, but everything's going to go up in cost too. So you don't ever really get any further ahead. They're just giving you enough, hopefully, to keep up with that increase. Most of the time, you're not getting enough to keep up with the increase. The only way you can do that is to actually get yourself, a higher income, not a raise, but like another level of income. That's where being self-employed is a huge advantage.
Promotions are really
Excuse
the
me.
only way to move ahead in the income brackets in
Right.
your career. The annual increases are typically just
Yeah.
trying to keep up with cost of living adjustments.
Or changing companies, which people
Yeah.
have done that now for years and years and years, but that's not fun either.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Unless you're a federal employee, and then you get 8 months of paid leave to change careers.
We'll talk about that off this show. I have an opinion on that one too. That would run you about $30 today, is referring to the Subway and the Marlboros and the gas. I think it would be more than that. Oh, 4 gallons of gas. So 4 gallons of gas is what? It's like $3 right now, so that'd be 12. Yeah, it's probably about right. $30 is about right.
Yeah, that's fair because it was like 99 cents a
Yeah.
gallon then when I was pumping gas at the gas station as my high school job.
And what were you getting paid per hour?
4 or 4.70 an hour or something. It might have even been
Exactly.
3 something when I started there. It might have
Yeah.
been 3.75 when I started there.
And do you make more than that now?
No, it's still the same.
So that's the thing. People forget about that. They're like, "Oh, I liked it when it was $2 for this." Yeah, well, did you like it when you made $2? Like,
Yeah.
you can't have both. As soon as you push your wages up, then those costs go up. They
That's
have to.
probably what I
They
make
have
per
to.
hour as a card seller.
Probably, I don't know. It depends on what you're putting it into it. So here's the thing with that, okay? Because people bring that up once in a while, not as much as when I first started doing this, but they'd be like, "Oh, you're only making this, how much you making per hour?" And it's like, I don't know if you realize that when you're building a business, you work a whole shit ton of hours you don't get paid jack for. You're
Yeah.
you're trying to build a future value. Like now, like yesterday, I took most of the day off. I went and did some Costco shopping. I had to pick up some stuff for Luna. It was our turn to buy for like the scout dinner that we do each year. So I went and picked that stuff up and then ran a couple other errands and then putzed around at some stores I like and did a few different things. And it's like, and I had a couple $100 in sales while I was gone. So I didn't really do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
So but I don't get a couple $100 in sales just walking around when you first start. Like that's not
Yeah.
how it works. You have to get stuff listed and you have to
Yeah.
learn how to do it and you got to build a customer base and So you can't look at it that way. I don't think. Not if you want to be successful.
We just were talking about that last night because Mrs. JC3 sold her first book on eBay last night.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I was
Was
helping
you
her.
excited?
She was. So we were both
Yeah.
excited because she's been working for this for a while. And
Sure.
I was also frustrated because I forgot what a pain it is to set up all your stuff the first time on your account, to print labels and stuff like that. I had forgotten how to do all that. It had been so long already.
I know. I just set up another store, so trust me, I get it.
But we got it all done. We got it all packaged up, and she's like, "Yeah, I sold it for this much. I bought it for this much, so I made this." And I'm like, "Well, what about eBay's fees?" And she's like, "Oh." So then we looked at that, and then we looked at the shipping costs, and she's like, "You mean I only made like $2 on that book?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but look how much you learned with that first book."
And you have to think of things in volume. See, I think that's where people have a problem with it. Because I'll still get posts on YouTube videos like, "So you sold a card for $1.50, so you made like 30 cents. It's not really worth it." I'm like, well, it is when you sell like 500 of them, in a day. So everything's relative. If you're going to play the low end stuff or the small margin stuff, in her case, it's small margin more than small dollars.
Yeah.
It's going to you're going to have to do a lot.
Yeah. And she'll probably end up having better margins per item than I do with low end cards. But the thing she's still working through is there's a skill to finding the right targets to pick up and flip, right?
Sure.
So she's still working through that. She was talking today about, oh, these were ones I picked up. I was so excited because I'm a book lover and I love those. And I'm like, that may be, but are those necessarily the ones that people are out there looking to buy? Or is that just what you like to buy?
Yeah, you have to look at sold listings. You have to look at sell-through rates. You have to look at how many are current listed, and
it takes a while
even more so than you do with cards.
Yeah,
because it's not as liquid a market. See, no, I wouldn't think her margins would be better. I would think her dollars would be better per item, but not margins. So I'm thinking if she's she's probably, let's say, in most cases, you're going to buy a book for $10 and maybe you sell it for 20.
Oh, no. You're buying books for 50 cents or $1.
Okay. Where do you get books for 50 cents?
Thrift stores and stuff, library sales. Yeah.
And those are books that have resale? Have good resale? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. See, I don't know much about books myself, so I'm learning as I go here with it too.
Yeah, I mean anywhere from 10 to $100.
Okay. Oh. Let's see. I have the best luck at Barnes and Noble for retail. I check out my Barnes and Noble once in a while, and they do have more than like Target and Walmart does. I think it's more because it's a pain. You have to go to the counter and try to look over at least at mine. You to look over the counter to even see what they have, and then they're like, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, I'm trying to look at your products that you're hiding,
and you feel like you're infringing on their space.
Yeah, it's really obnoxious. So I think that probably hurts their sales somewhat, but I still haven't found anything like amazing there where I go to Barnes and Noble to buy.
And a lot of times it's kind of dated stock. Like it's not the most current stock.
Yeah, because I think they just don't sell through it that fast.
Yeah. Same with like lids. I can always find some blasters and stuff at lids, but it's not necessarily the stuff I want.
And they don't carry very much. They just have that little stand with like 3-4 boxes on it. And I loved it because for a while there, because I was finding all the Match Attax tins with the exclusive Messi cards in it.
Yep.
So they would put a few out on the shelf. I'd go in, buy them all.
Yeah.
Because they must have had like a case in the back, and they just put a couple out. And then I go back a few days later, and there'd be a couple more on the shelf, and I'd buy them, and so I would just keep doing that. And that was lucrative for a while until I assume I eventually bought them out. Five Below has some nice $5 posters, some great Jordan posters, actually. That's pretty cool. Thanks. Yeah, I'll have to check. I don't
Yeah, we
really
have
have
one of
space.
those.
What's that?
We have one of those now, a Five Below.
Oh yeah, Five Below. Yeah, I've been there quite a few times. It's a decent place. During the last McDonald's Pokemon cards, people were getting them by the boatload. I even seen a whole case for sale on Facebook Marketplace.
They're on eBay
Yeah,
right
we
now.
were talking about that. Yeah, and I saw somebody was selling 3 cases on eBay. I'm like, okay, I don't know why you'd want all that, but January has been the best month I had since I started selling. See, there you
Hi,
go.
boy.
There you go. January has been my best month ever on eBay. There's another one, Art.
Yeah.
Great, guys. That's good. Keep working on it. Whatever you're doing this month, do it again next month.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. They ran out real quick. I still have 20 packs unopened. I think he's referring to the McDonald's still. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that those hold value long term, but I mean, maybe long term. In big part thanks to Pokemon. Yeah, a lot of your sales coming from Pokemon. Our merchant says his sales have been fire. Great. Pitchers and catchers report soon. I think it's next week, right? Next week?
It might be. I hadn't looked at the schedule yet
I think
for
it's
this year,
first week
but
of February.
yeah, they are a week or 2 weeks ahead of everybody else.
Yep. Sparkle's here. Good day from Australia. Welcome. Thanks for joining us tomorrow. We appreciate you. People are sleeping on Riley Green. He quietly had a 5.4 WAR last season. I think he can have a breakout season. Don't tell everyone.
I mean, I wouldn't mind because I got lots of inventory that hasn't moved yet for him.
I sell some. Riley Green sells okay to me, actually. Yeah. I haven't sold much in this off season, but during the season last year, I sold a good amount, and I picked up some good stuff here and there too. Yeah, he's kind of. I think he's sneaky good. I agree with his assessment on it. Witt is the best all-around player in baseball. 5 tool. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I wasn't saying anything to like take anything away from Bobby Witt as as a player. It's just to me, it's like he doesn't play on a big team. If you compare it to football, right? Let's say Kyler Murray is a really good quarterback, but he plays for the Cardinals and they don't win a lot of games, and you're just not going to get a lot of value out of Kyler Murray. Like I think the biggest difference is in baseball, it's really your personal efforts that matter the most. So you could be on a last place team, but you're the home run leader, right? So your cards are going to sell. Like it doesn't really work that way in other sports. If you're playing on the Bears and you have a great wide receiver season catching the ball, you'll get some sales. Like there'll be some people into that, but you won't get a lot of it because you're on a terrible team.
Are you saying the Bears are terrible?
If you look at the record, yes.
Because I'm okay with that. I just wanted to be clear.
I don't care about teams. I don't care about players. These people that are like, oh, the refs cost us the game. Like, dude, you guys got to get over yourselves. It's just a game. People take it, and I do this for a living. I sell these, cardboard men for a living, and I still don't take it that seriously. Like, chill out. Baseball has a lot more games than other sports. I don't know that matters that much. In some ways, I think it kind of hurts it because it gets kind of draggy, and people don't watch a lot until it gets closer to the playoffs and stuff. Statistics wise, I think it's great because you can. Let's say you're at 50 home runs and there's a month left of the season, we can watch you every day to see if you get closer to that 60 home run mark. It stays in your head versus a once a week playing type sport. But if you're making the argument of playing more games, basketball plays a heck of a lot of games too. They play like 180 games, and I think baseball plays
164.
164. So basketball might even be more. I don't know. Don't take me my word for that. I haven't looked it up, but basketball, they play a lot of games too. Theirs might be, because I think the best win season in basketball was 100 wins, right? Was like the
Somewhere
big
around
ones.
there, yeah. I think the number of games is pretty similar, maybe a little bit less in basketball.
Doesn't even say. Way to go, Google.
Just ask Compass.
80. They play 82 games. 82 games. Each team in a standard season plays 82. So that obviously doesn't include playoffs or the mid-season tournament and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So they're 100 games easily.
Yeah.
So I don't know that the number of games helps or hurts for that matter.
Well, I think with baseball, it causes the sales to be kind of U-shaped over the course of a year. Hyped up and enthusiasm for spring training. And then you get a month and a half in and it kind of dwindles down. You go through the All-Star game, maybe a little blip. And then September, it ramps back up.
Yeah, I think it covers certain months that maybe are a little bit more active for people. Like, I think more people get out to baseball games than get to football games. First of all, there is more of them. They're a little more cost effective. The weather's nicer.
For sure.
So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of factors that go into it. All I know is, and all I really care about is, if I buy 10 cards from this sport and 10 cards from this sport, which sport sells fastest and makes me the most money? Oh, it's baseball? Guess what I'm going to buy?
Yeah.
I try to keep it as simple as that. Brad says Ohtani's the only guy to buy in baseball. He's a lock for the Hall of Fame with his talent of hitting and pitching. I disagree that he's the only one to buy. I definitely agree that he is someone to buy.
I think he's the top of the heap.
He is, but it depends on how you're looking at it for your investment too. Are you looking to just buy and hold? Then yeah, I would say Ohtani is a great choice. If I want to buy today and sell tomorrow, Ellie De La Cruz might be a better choice, or Bobby Witt Jr. might be a better choice. So yeah, I don't think it's, and I can't just, I run a store with 60,000 listings. I can't just go buy 100 Ohtani cards and that's all I'm buying for baseball because Ohtani's the best. Like, that's business model wise, it doesn't work. Let's see. Vintage football career peaks are about 5 years. Baseball star can have a fit. That's a good point.
That is
a 15-year run. They can play longer than 15 years. Many years longer than 15 years. There's been quite a few football players that have had really long careers as well. But you're right, it's less likely, especially in some of those high skilled positions, like in the positions that get beat on, like running backs. Especially wide receivers with lots of injury and stuff. But I would say most of the star quarterbacks, play 15 years plus. Is pretty common, but I think overall you're right. You get longer careers in baseball. I've been listing all my Chiefs, Eagles, and Barkley cards. I've always been listing that stuff anyway, but one of the things I will be doing the week of the Super Bowl is I will be ending the listings of Chiefs and Eagles and other key players, and I will be relisting them just like I did with baseball this year. Get some new listings. So it's listings you currently have, but you're bringing them up as new listings.
Right.
How are you going with the 2024 Star Wars cards? What sort of price are you getting? Depends on what 2024 Star Wars cards you're referring to. If you're referring to Topps Chrome, um, I kind of have like my set little prices for stuff like that. Sometimes it depends on what I paid for them too. And if there's other cards that I get a bigger return on, I might give up some money on some of the smaller cards just to sell them. But generally, like a Topps Chrome, not a big name character, I would ask $1.99 for. And then you get to the bigger stars like Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford and Natalie Portman and those. Then you're looking, then I do like $3.99 for a base card. Refractors, same thing. You just increase the dollar amount based on the name of the character and the actor. And then inserts, characters matter in non-sport stuff. So you can sell Boba Fett stuff for more. You can sell Darth Maul stuff for more. You can sell Darth Vader stuff for more. Luke stuff can sell for more. So you just those key characters. That's where you're going to want to ask more. And if you have trouble pricing it, you can always just go to recent solds and do it that way. I don't look up very many cards at all when I'm listing cards, unless I feel like there's a sneaky good value in it. I've been doing this long enough, and I'm not looking up every single card. It would drive me nuts. As I'm listing them, especially in Card Dealer Pro, I'll hit the little, tell me what recent sales price was. That's about it. But I won't go in and look at them all. Now, something like this, McDonald's Pokemon cards, I have no freaking clue what to ask for any of them. So, and there isn't that many cards here. So I will look them up and I'll be like, okay, people like Dragonite. All right, I'll ask $7 for this one. I think in general, you have a pretty good idea though. Like, I know the holos are going to go for more than what they call standard cards. I guess that's what a Pokemon base card is a standard card. I learned that today. So it's always learning, but yeah, so I would just, maybe look at other recent sales and then just kind of use your common sense. Do you think Han Solo will sell better than Dexter Jetster? Yes. Do you think Natalie Portman will sell better than Jar Jar? Yes. So if you're going to price Jar Jar at $1.99, you probably want to ask more for, Natalie Portman, who's Padme, by the way, for those who don't know Star Wars. Yeah, so that's kind of how I approached that pricing. Do you do something similar, Charlie, or?
I still comp more than you do, just because I haven't been doing it as long. Especially when I get into sports I don't know as well. Like, for example, this morning I was listing some 1994 hockey for someone, and I didn't know the names at all, really. So what I would do in a case like that, I do like what Card Dealer Pro does with it, where you can click on the recent sales. Usually what I'll do is kind of get a feel for the set. I'll check 4 or 5 names that I'm not really familiar with to see how that set typically falls. Is it a $225, $250 type of set, or is it a $1.99 set? And then that becomes my base. And a lot of them, if I don't know the names, I'll just boom, 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 all at $1.99. And then occasionally there's a name I'm like, I think I remember that name. Let me see if they do something different. And then I would actually go in and look at the card, or it's a different type of insert or something. But I would say I still comp 80% of my stuff, to be honest. I'm
not going to bother with that.
Don't feel confident enough just winging it. I feel like I would leave a lot on the table.
And sometimes, I'll get a quick sale and I'll be like, oh, I could have got a little bit more than that. But sometimes that plays into my favor too, because I sold that card a little cheaper, but now that person came in and bought 10 other cards.
Yeah.
So I lost $1 or $2 that I could have made on there, but I made another $15 or $20 selling these other cards that are comped right on. And honestly, Charlie, for the most part, I'm overpricing all my cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if anything, it's just going to start getting me offers and stuff. I'm not going to be, you know, or I'll get a quick sale, but it'll be at price versus an
Right.
overprice, which is what I would normally put it at.
Yeah.
So
No, I get that.
I very rarely miss, and I've had misses, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I've also had cards where I overpriced it, and then I look at the sale and I'm like, dude, there's no way they should have sold for this. I had it overpriced,
Right.
So it's
I
par
do
for the course.
I do think of cards in tiers though, like both in terms of brand and subsets. So base, I'm gonna generally be looking around the floor of my store. Inserts, I'm generally gonna start listing at a little bit more.
Same.
Prisms
Yep.
and refractors a little bit more. Autos are always going to be another level up, and even with some brands, like I'm a basic
Sets.
Donruss paper is going to be like $1.99 start for me, but if I get an optic, it's automatically going to be like a 225, 250 start, right? So
Mhm.
so I do think about that, and if I'm comfortable enough that I know that set or know most of the players I'm listing, I will do some pricing without checking any comps. But still, I feel like it's pretty heavy yet that I still check them.
And that's part of that is a difference in our personalities too.
Yeah,
Just the way we do things. You're a little bit more. It's got to be precise. It's got to have every field filled out. And I'm like, no, you don't have to do that.
I'm
But
slowly getting
and
away from that though.
and sometimes that's been better for you, and sometimes that's been better
Yeah,
for me. So not one is right and not one is wrong. You just have to
yeah,
decide what works for you. If, if a normal Star Wars base card would have gone for $2.99 and I got $1.99 for it, I really don't give a shit, to be honest with
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Whatever, just sell another. When you're selling, you know, like I said, 300 cards a day. I don't really care if I miss by a buck or two. None of these are that important. Now, if it was a Harrison Ford autographed card, yeah, I'm gonna comp that. I'm not just
yeah,
gonna throw it out at, yeah, I bet his cards go for $100, and then boom, they're like 1,000 because he never signs anything. Um, which I just happen to know that. But if I didn't know that, I'd be glad I comped because I would have
yeah.
missed a lot on the price.
And that's
So
kind of the biggest
you just
thing
have to
I
kind of
think
go
is
ahead.
we're at different strategies in our store in its life cycle, right? Like you're established, you have consistent volume and sales coming in. I'm still in growth mode and I'm focused more on I need a card to turn fast because I need to get more volume. Whereas you've got all the volume you need. So now it doesn't matter as much to you, at least in my opinion, if a card takes a year to sell because you have 63,000 other cards that
Hmm.
you're working through versus I'm like, I'm at 17,000. I've got a lot of inventory to build up yet. I need that capital from flipping that card right away to go out and get some more, right?
Yeah, but I also have a very big additional challenge added on top that you don't, and that's that I have to pay my mortgage out of it. So
Yeah.
um, it does push me along a little bit more to be like, I'm just going to take this. I want the sale. I need to hit my numbers for today, kind of thing. But I think in the long run, that's really helped me because I've built a pretty good customer base, and a lot of it is because I'll give them a deal. If they're
Yeah.
going to buy more stuff, I'll give them a deal. They'll come back, buy more. Um, so you can't try to squeeze every penny out of everything. You're going to fail miserably if you do that. And you can't live in total fear of I might leave something on the table. Um, if your customers get some wins once in a while, don't you think that's good for your business? I
Oh,
do.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
do. So I actually sent, and this is a perfect time to bring this up. I actually sent a congratulations type message to a customer of mine that's been buying for a while. Because when I put this last coupon out, I always do like a cap amount of the card
Yeah.
that will get the deal. Forgot to do that. So
Oh.
So he went in and bought a bunch of like $1 and $2 cards, and then he had a 91 Upper Deck Michael Jordan SP baseball card. You know, the one where he's standing there batting. You know what I'm talking about?
I
That
think so. Yep.
1991 Upper Deck baseball card.
Yep.
And I had a price of like $50 or something. So he ended up getting it at a half price, which I wouldn't have accepted a $25 offer on that card. Now market is like 35, so I overpriced it. So I didn't miss out on as much as I could have. I have a few copies of it, and it came in a huge Jordan buy that I'm already in the profit on. So I
Okay.
made money on it. To sort of defend that. But I messaged him like, "Hey, good snag, man. I forgot to put my price limit on it. You know, good for you. Thanks for your business. Blah blah blah." And he messaged me back with kind of a haha. He's like, "I thought so," because he's like, "I've tried to add this into previous orders, and I wouldn't get the half price." So he's like, "I tried it again, and it worked, so I bought it." And I'm like, "You know what? Good for you. You got a win out of it. You know."
Yeah.
And I did sell a bunch of like it was just like junk $2 cards, like some Akeem Olajuwon, you know, low end inserts and stuff like that. So things that I was just happy to get the sale on those anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just like at our show, right? We charge for table space, but we don't just hog the money. We take some of that and we buy stuff to give away. We buy little tiny goats. and we'll pay for credits for customers to get some money to spend at some of the dealer tables. And like you can't just me because eventually people are gonna be like, well, screw you then. You have you, and I'm gonna go away.
Yeah.
I like having the charity part. Well, we all do. We like having the charity part for our show, and we get a lot of compliments for that. I'm so glad you guys include this. It's an extra thing we got to do. I had to drive over to that food bank twice to bring that to make that drop off and bring them a check and do all that stuff. But it's just part of the goodwill that's attached to that event, and I think it's important. And the customers see it as important, and the dealers see it as important. Most of them. So I don't think you have to be right 100% of the time on your listings. I think sometimes that could cost you a sale.
Yeah.
You know, once in a while, if you hit one underpriced and they buy a few things, so be it. It's kind of a roundabout answer to what you're asking, but you also have to look at your time invested, right? So if I got a stack of cards like this and I got to look every one of them up,
Yeah.
that might be 25, 30 minutes of time that I could do something else where I could, make something up on,
Hmm.
make some more money on. Now this is Tristan Casas rookie card, or Casas, or however you pronounce his name. Do I really need to look this up? Is it going to be that life changing of an amount? It's a rookie card. It's a decent little Topps Chrome rookie card, but if I charge $1.99 for that and they've been selling for $2.50, I don't really care. All right, can you explain the purpose of skew? How is it intended to be helpful? I number my skew 1, 2, 3. Example, I'm up to 475. Makes it super easy to find the batch. I think you answered your own question. The purpose of the skew is to make it easy for you to find the card, or your piece of inventory. Um, and that's its exact intention of of how to be helpful. Um, the other key part of it that I think kind of gets overlooked is that it's hidden to the customer. It's a number. It's a field only relevant to you, so it's however your system's set up. Now
Yeah.
you happen to just go 1, 2, 3. I use the date and then a parentheses and a bag number. Charlie uses a date, but just kind of as one solid number. Um, some people do like row and box, or box number and row, or letter, file them under certain letters. Some people do alphabetical. It's that's the beauty of it, is it's completely customizable to whatever you want to do.
I've even
Um,
experimented a couple of times with some small buys from people. friends and family. Like I've put my cost for the cards in the SKU, so I can go back later and pull up a SKU to see all the sales I had, and I say, oh, well, the SKU ends in 40. I spent $40 for all these cards. How much have I made on them?
That's a good idea. Yeah, you can really use it however you want. It doesn't have to be for inventory control, like Charlie said. I think that's what most people are going to use it for, but you don't have to. So it's a free field to use.
Yeah,
Figure out what you want to do with it. It sounds like you kind of have a process already for it, but that is literally the purpose of it, is just make it.
make
It's
it
a
easy.
it's a hidden field that only you can see, and it's to help you determine what you're doing with that inventory.
It stands for Stock Keeping Unit. It's all about the stock keepers organization and how they can quickly find those items and get them out to people.
And it's sometimes I hear from like newer sellers that are like, "Oh, it's not that big a deal," and I'm like, "Yeah, but you only have like 200 cards listed."
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
like six. Well, I have almost 63,000 now between the two stores. It's like I'm not digging through all those to find them. You just can't. You'd never be able to function. So if you want to, so that's probably the biggest advantage of the SKU, is it allows you to scale, because you can do bigger numbers because the organization is there. Found Treasure says mahalo. Mahalo to you too, my friend. Card Dealer Pro now is assigning a number such as, what is that about? Um, I don't think I can tell you yet. There's a beta testing for a function in the program, and the program is required to have a unique SKU for each listing. But you don't have to just have that. You can have a prefix to that number, that random letters and number that you've got listed there. So that's what I do. So I go in and I put in my regular batch numbers, and then this little random code is tagged at the back of it. And that works that way. So you can still do a full batch, same SKU number, letter, whatever you were doing. You can still do that. You just have to go in and add it in front of the numbers that are defaulted in there, or the script that's defaulted in the box. Right, Charlie?
That's right.
Okay. Sit on the web and yum, and if they're not fetching what you want after his Hall of Fame career, you'll be rich. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not selling them cheap or anything, but I wouldn't mind selling some at current prices. I kind of did that with Ohtani's too. I sold a ton of Ohtani rookies. I still can't believe the deal I got on those back in the day. But I kept a few key ones that I really liked, and I know long term as provided he stays healthy, of course. He's legit. He'll be in the Hall. So, but I've been doing that for years and years and years and years. I've got Kobe rookies. I've got Shaq rookies. I've got most of the key baseball player, Ichiro Suzuki, who just made the Hall. I have some rookies of pretty much all those players. And of course, I have an F face card, because everyone should have had one of those.
Yes.
And people were overlooking those. I bought mine for $8 just a couple of years ago, and now they're like what, 50 or 60, I think, raw. Everyone should have bought one of those right away and sat on it. It's just you can't beat that. Maybe you'll be rich. You don't know. And remember, a dime tomorrow is not necessarily better than a nickel today. Money devalues over time too. So
the wise words of Wimpy. I'll gladly trade you a hamburger today.
For a cheeseburger tomorrow or something. Yeah. Out of what you sell on eBay, what is your ratio of base cards compared to inserts? I'd say I would say inserts are heavier than base cards. And by inserts, I mean like parallels, numbered cards, non-base cards. So I would say base cards and non-base cards. I'd say I'm probably like 70% non-base cards, and then maybe actually 30 might even be high. Maybe 20. I was doing a lot more base cards, when I first started out, but now that I go to shows and I'm like cherry picking the cards that I want to list, there's usually something extra with them. There's exceptions. So if I find any Barry Sanders base card for 10 cents, I'm buying all of them. I don't care if they're pro set or score or whatever, because I sell tons of them. I sell
Yeah.
tons. They flip fast.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the player and stuff like that. But I would say like overall, I'm probably like 70-30.
Yeah, that surprises me. First of all, good evening, Dennis. I believe visiting from Quebec City. As we talked to you last week.
Pop tart with ketchup. Quebec pizza. The Quebec pizza, no?
Don't be an ugly American. Come on.
Oh, she's good. She's good. Well, some Mike Myers for you.
But I'm always surprised by how much base actually sells. Like I feel like my splits are much closer to even, and I might even sell a little more base than inserts, which maybe I just have that much more base than inserts too. But I kind of feel like inserts and parallels go a little faster, but every day there's more base cards going out that from a volume perspective, I feel like I'd sell a lot more base than I thought I would.
But here's the thing though, Charlie. So I'll sell, like I'll buy Mahomes base. I'll buy, Brady base. I'll buy Barry Sanders base. I'll buy a 5-row box of Jordan base cards. But I'm not going to buy like Spud Webb base cards, but I'll buy Spud Webb inserts. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's just more variety and more breadth of inserts, parallels, numbered cards, that kind of thing that I would buy versus my base cards are really, for the most part, unless they come in lots or collections I buy and then you just have them. But when I'm looking for cards to buy to resell, my base cards are generally specific players. So that's where the percentage gets bigger because I'll buy different players for different, other reasons.
That's a good call out too. I'm like just looking at an 8-card order I put together before the show, and 5 of the 8 cards in the order were inserts. The 3 that were not was a Michael Jordan 9091 Hoops base card, a base Fleer Metal Shaquille O'Neal, and a base Aaron Judge. So it wasn't just like some random, major league equivalent player filling in for base cards.
And all 3 of those players, I would have bought the base cards too.
Yeah.
So I think we all kind of play on those same names. I'll buy a 1992 Topps base Ken Griffey Jr. card.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to buy a 1992 Topps base Barry Larkin card. No disrespect to Barry Larkin. He was a great player, but there's just not going to be as much market there. Now, if I get a stack of 1992 Topps cards and I can easily scan them in and list them all, I might do that. And I'll probably eventually sell that Barry Larkin card for $1.99 or $1.50 on a low offer or something like that, and it'll move. Or it'll move in, like you said, a clump with other cards or something like that. But since I'm not seeking those out, it doesn't become a very large percentage of my inventory.
Yeah.
That's the big difference.
I think I have a lot of it because I am still working through what I started with, which was collections, which was 80% base cards, right? When I was a set collector. Yeah.
And I have a ton of Favre base cards that I'm still selling through, and I sell them every day. And he is a bigger name, so that does help, of course. But so a good portion of my base that I even have listed is just stuff that I had too.
Now,
for a long time.
To be fair, just this past weekend when I was at Tim's, I went there to promote our show a little bit and drop off some flyers. But of course, I did a little shopping, and I went in. If you watched my pickups video, oh yeah, you told me you didn't watch that yet.
I didn't watch that one yet. No,
but I actually mentioned that I went in saying I don't really need a lot for cards right now, and I've got tons of base. So when I do look, I'm gonna look for some nicer inserts or parallels and things like that. So I think you do kind of evolve to that space where that starts to take over your sales.
Well, when you're starting out, you just want inventory, and you have to put your own capital into it because you don't quite have the sales yet. So you're like, okay, well, I got $100. All right, I can get this big stack of cards, and I can get a bunch of listings out, or I can get these 3 cards, and if none of them sell, I'm still sitting on no income, and yeah, the game changes as things get bigger for sure, in a positive way for the most part.
Yeah.
I gotta step out just for like a minute or two.
What?
I gotta go answer something real quick.
You gotta drop the kids off at the pool.
No, that takes more than a minute or two. But I'm gonna pop right out. I'll be back in just a minute or two. Charlie will entertain you. You can go to single screen if you want for a few minutes.
All right, sounds good. Or I can't go to single screen because of the way we have it set up. Let me try again here. Yeah, we're going to go single Adam. That probably doesn't do us very, very well. All right. MD Sports Cards is here tonight. Good evening, Max. Look forward to seeing you at the show again in March, and hopefully we'll run into you before then at some other shows. Knackley Collectibles is here. Good evening, fellas. Need a weekly liquidity list, Charlie. Love that content. Good to hear. Good to hear. It does take a little bit of work for me to put that together. So I definitely love to hear that people get value out of that. When I first started doing those last year, I was doing it on a weekly basis. And as the football season kicked in and I got back into my coaching duties, coaching high school football here locally, I just couldn't fit the time in to get everything done. And then after the season ended, I had kind of settled into maybe once a month. And yet I still got away from it for a while. I feel like I was decompressing from the football season for a while, and I didn't do a lot of content creation. So I was pretty overdue getting one out last week. I'm trying to get back on track with that with a baseball one. And I'll probably do a football one next since we're kind of wrapping up that season to see how things end. But I appreciate you letting me know that you enjoy that content. Hopefully folks find that helpful. And then a suggestion, maybe have a special segment on the weekly show. There it says, sure, they're a pain to do. I wouldn't say they're a pain because I do enjoy it. It just takes a while. There's a lot of data research I do on that. Adam's kind of seen what I do with that. And usually I start out the week and say, all right, I'm going to do one by the end of the week. And I spend the first 2 days of the week just kind of putting the numbers together, understanding the risers, the fallers, how the market has changed. And then I start to record and really put the content together. And then there's editing. So it's a full week activity really to put something out there. So we talk about it sometimes on this show. I think as much as I appreciate you enjoying it, it probably bores others. So I don't know that we'll make it a segment, but what I do like is when I have special requests for it. Adam asked me to do a soccer list one time. I got a request for a wrestling list one time, which was especially challenging. I'll tell you that. Well, soccer was too, with all the different leagues and stuff like that. But wrestling, you have superstars, entertainers that have had 5 different names over the life of their career. So how do you say that person is selling more or less than the other one? You got to combine all that. So, but I do like the special request because it gives me a chance to dig into something different for a change too.
Lamine Yamal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I gave you a liquidity list clue in very early on.
Yeah, that was a national discussion in
Mhm.
Cleveland when he was just starting to make a name for himself internationally. And Adam said, "Watch this guy." And sure enough, when I finally did a liquidity list, he was up there in the top 10.
Yep. And he's going to climb even higher now with
Yeah.
Barca just won a cup. Barcelona just won a cup, and they're going to be competitive. They're the number 2 team in the Champions League tournament now. So he could have a big impact on how this season shakes out. So we all know, if you don't know anything about soccer, understand that the Champions League is the most important part of all of it. So regardless of what league you come from, if you're not going to compete in the Champions League, you're probably not going to hold much value um, to anybody outside of the fan of that team or whatever. So yeah. Anyway, Lamine. Actually, I learned that is the actual pronunciation is Lamine. Lamine Yamal.
Okay.
17-year-old kid. He plays for Barcelona, and he's the man.
You can get that name right, but some 15-year vet in Major League Baseball, you'll completely butcher his name.
Lamine Yamal. Pete Rose.
Pete Rose, there you go.
Oh, shoot. Pete Rose. I was surprised on your liquidity list that Pete Rose was one of the biggest downs.
Well,
I'm like,
because he
really?
surged with his
Yeah,
PMB, his
yeah,
postmortem bump. Yeah.
yeah. But Ricky Henderson hasn't really dropped.
Um, so I would disagree. He hasn't been in the top 10 before for me. He's
Oh,
in the top 10. He's number 10 right now.
mhm.
Typically he was in the second half of kind of 15 through 20, kind of
But
in that
that's what I'm
15.
saying. He's still on a bump.
Oh, he's still up. But that
Yeah,
was
I'm
just
saying
what,
he has.
3 weeks
I'm
ago?
surprised. Well, that's true. It was more
Yeah.
recent than Pete Rose's, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, yeah. Guess it'll take a little
And
while.
and as Ricky Henderson will tell you, he was the greatest of all time.
But Ricky is the best. And he's not wrong. Ricky was like my guy when I was watching baseball as a
Ricky
kid.
Ricky.
Everybody loved the Oakland A's when I was a kid. It was
Yeah.
Jose can strike out and Mark McGuire and Ricky Henderson and Dave Stewart and geez, who the hell else was on there at that time? Trying to think.
Dennis
Yeah,
Eckersley.
Dennis Eckersley. Yep, there you go. Yeah, that was an awesome team. It
Yeah.
was fun to watch. So much talent on so many different sides. Like you had pitching talent, you had power hitting talent, you had running talent, you had base stealing talent, you had fielding
Yeah.
talent. You know, it was just awesome. Let's see. I saw 2 factory sets of Topps baseball on the shelf at my Walmart for $39 2 days ago. Don't know if they are still there. It's funny you mentioned that because there's 2 sets for $39 at the Walmart by me too, and I was like,
Really?
yeah, and they do come with like
The rookie
5.
design variations.
Yeah, you get the 5 rookie design ones or whatever. And I'm like, that might be worth it. I know 2023 was not a great draft year. I couldn't even tell you the rookies that came out of 2023 and if they, really hold any value. 2024 was obviously a huge rookie year. But at $39, I mean, for 700 cards or 600 cards or whatever it is, probably not a terrible deal. They will sell. I mean, that's half price basically. So
So 2023 would have been Gunnar Henderson, Corbin Carroll,
okay, Gunner's a good
Adley
one. I still buy
Rutschman.
Gunner.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Adley. Yeah, I guess it wasn't terrible, but it's not like it was in 24. So, um, yeah, so I might be picking up a couple of those too. We'll see.
Yeah.
I fell so in love with the ASG sets, and I still every day I sell at least one ASG card. It's crazy.
Nice. I
Um,
picked up at Tim's a bunch of the MLB logo ones,
yeah.
and I love those. Those are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a fun way to have, some extra flair on the card and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're pretty awesome. Uh, let's see. This one's gonna be kind of tough to answer. Have your sales run a consistent percentage of your listings since you've started? I
Ooh.
think what he's referring to is, have you sold a certain percentage of the listings that you have,
Yeah, we
and has
used to
that
talk
stayed
about this a
consistent?
little bit, like what percentage of your inventory consistently turns over. And I
Hmm.
think we used to talk early on. I feel like we talked about trying to hit for like 10%. Does that
Hmm.
sound familiar?
Well, a good sell-through rate on what we do is probably like 2%, 1 or 2%. If you have 60,000 listings, if you're selling 600 of them, well, it depends on what time frame you're talking about too. Are you talking like daily or monthly or yearly? Um, but I guess like so if you had 60,000 listings and you sold 6,000 cards for the year, that'd be a 1% sell through rate, right? No,
Yeah.
that would be a 10% sell through rate. 6,000 of 60,000 would be 10%.
Yeah, there's not really a good metric for that either in eBay. But I remember we used to talk about like typically if 10% of your inventory is in a sales cycle where people are at least clicking on it, you're able to send offers on it, you're getting offers in return on some of that, and you're selling like all those things together. I remember targeting like I figure like 10% of my inventory is like viable at any given time.
Yeah, and I don't look too closely at that because honestly, a lot of it is just by luck. So I just happened to I was telling Charlie about this sale right before we came on here. And one of my big box buys, because when you're buying out bulk, you're gonna get all kinds of stuff in there that you might not cherry pick, that you probably wouldn't cherry pick.
Yeah.
But you still want to list it and sell it. So I had a big order yesterday, 38 cards of 1998 playoff momentum football and momentum SSD football. And it was just super random players, like no namer type players. Keenan McCardle is one that pops in my head. And there was some running back from Arizona. I don't remember his name. Um, just random players. A couple kickers, stuff like that. And that's not stuff I would pick out, of a box to buy and sell. But I got that sale. The guy must be putting together sets, or girl, whoever, putting together sets of those, because otherwise, why would you buy those cards? Um, so you just don't know what someone's going to buy. That's what's complicated about it. And if you can get something at a really cheap price and you can give up a little bit of the resale price, you can get a sale just as fast as if you have a hot card. You know what I'm saying? So if you can get maybe a card that sells for $3, but you can get it for 10 cents and sell it for 250, even though it's not like a big turnover card, because you can sell it for 250, you probably get a quick sale. So there's two ways to kind of, make that percentage go up, I guess, or try to make that percentage go up. But there's still no guarantee.
Yeah.
Mahomes is gonna probably win another Super Bowl, probably get another MVP. And his cards did not sell well at all this year for me. Now they are. I've sold quite a few in the last couple of weeks, but all season long they didn't really sell that well because they were winning, but he wasn't really playing that great. So people weren't buying. And you don't know that. If you were to tell me that going into the playoffs, the Chiefs were what were they? 9-1, 10-1, 11-1, whatever that comes out to, 12-1. How many games do they play, Charlie?
Is it an 18 game season now?
17, I think it's 17.
17, yeah.
But anyway, if you would have told me they won every game but one, but Patrick Mahomes hadn't played for crap all season, I'd be like, well, you're nuts. That's not possible. But it's kind of true. He played average, for a lot of the season, so there just wasn't spike on his card. So I don't know. I think a lot of what we're doing is guesswork, right? We're still kind of gambling in a hobby or a business like this. You're going, I'm going to buy this card today at this price because I think I can get this price tomorrow for it. But there's no guarantee that there's a buyer just sitting there waiting for that, unless it's Lamine Yamal.
Yeah. Here's maybe some numbers that can help you, Timothy. And Adam, yours are going to be different. We all have different numbers, but when I look at my listings, I misspoke before. I'm actually at 12,962 listings. Over the course of the last month, 6,901 of those, or 53%, have ended up in a not an impression, a listing page view. Okay. So half of my inventory leads to someone looking at my stuff, right? Of that, only 6.6% goes to a sale. That's my sales conversion rate. So I think those numbers maybe tell you more than the question, the way you asked it, what percentage of your listings have your sales been? Because I think it's a complicated formula when you start looking at it. So I would focus on those impressions and page clicks and then your conversion rate to really understand, am I listing stuff that moves or am I listing stuff that nobody's looking at?
But I think it's kind of obvious what stuff's going to sell too. Like, I don't know. I like the metrics, and I look at eBay and the different information and the data that they have. But at the end of the day, I know if I can buy a Mahomes card for $0.25, I can sell it for $4.
That's
pretty
the
easily.
easy stuff, though. That's the stuff everybody knows.
That's right. That's what you should be focusing on.
But if you want to know, can I sell a water skiing squirrel? That takes some additional research.
But you're not going to find that information. That's my point. That's not going to be out there. See, and that's where I go to the weird stuff, because I want the stuff that doesn't have information on it, because that's where you're going to find a little niche that nobody else is involved in, or hardly anybody else is involved in.
This is what I'm saying, though. Like, as you shape your store and your inventory, if you want to go down that weird route, you need some way, to Timothy's question, you need some way to tell you, is this paying off, or am I getting so weird I've taken myself out of the market, right? So how much of that stuff is leading to something?
You can't get too weird. After the show, I'm literally listing flaming carrot cards.
Yeah.
And they will sell. Right? My Little Pony, Charlie?
That's true.
So I don't know. I mean, spend some time on the data, especially if you're new, trying to figure out what you're doing, and then carve your niche and go for it. Like, you can't. When Zuckerberg built Facebook, how much data did he have on prior social media networks? Like zero.
Yeah.
There's just some things you just have to do, and if you want to be every other seller, sure, go off of all those numbers, buy the Jordan cards at this price, sell them at that price, and you'll have your little spot on the shelf there where you're never really going to get anywhere. That's my personal opinion on it. So I'm not saying don't use the data. I didn't start it with that comment. But don't hinge everything on that either, because you can't make your own business and build your own model. And there are other big sellers that are doing what we're doing, but they're not doing it the way we're doing it. I don't do it the way Charlie does it. Charlie doesn't do it the way I do it. So you can't just go, okay, well, these sold here and this sold. You have to find like your thing. And I understand what you're asking is, how do I look into my data to find this stuff? But the stuff the stuff I'm selling more of now is not the same stuff I was selling more of last week.
Yeah.
So it's going to forever change. And your inventory isn't predictable. Unless you have somebody you can buy the same cards from at the exact same price at the exact same time, that's going to change continuously. You're going to have, oh, I went through a hockey box and I found some good hockey stuff at a good price. Well,
Yeah.
shit, you've never sold hockey before. Where in your data is going to tell you how fast you're going to sell those hockey cards?
I think where Adam and
You're not
I
going to see it.
would 100% agree is don't get too hung up on all those performance metrics eBay gives you. There's only one metric in the end that really matters, and that is what percentage of your profits are you bringing home? Yeah.
Money.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like, I don't know, man, I found these weird Superman cards, I'm going to give them a try, and you list 10 of them and all 10 of them sell instantly, go buy some more of those Superman cards.
Yeah.
Like, just, if you've got a thing, you can. How many people have flaming carrot cards to sell? Raise your hand. Oh, nobody? Exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to find like things. And I try to, early on in my videos, if you watch my earlier videos, that's pretty much what my videos were like. Dude, buy these, they sell, or try this and that. And I don't really do that anymore for a couple of reasons. One, I was kind of giving away the house that way. I mean, you're all going to run out and buy flaming carrot cards now, I know, but the other reason was I just wanted to show that, hey, you don't have to sell only Michael Jordan cards. You don't have to only sell PSA 10 Zion Prism, cards that everybody was flipping at the time. Like, there's all kinds of cool cards and different things out there. Nobody was doing non-sport. I was making video about non-sports. No one would even watch them. I get like 0 views on them. Now it's like now I do these sales a day videos. That's pretty much all I do now because I don't have time really to do much videos like I used to when I was just growing. But now that's the comments that I regularly get are, I love the weird crap that you sell. And I'm like, exactly. That's what I've built for me. There's a 1,000 baseball prospect sellers. That's great. That's their thing. You see, I think you just have to kind of find your spot and realize that the guy who's selling Jordan cards is going to sell his cards faster than you're going to sell your flaming carrot cards. And that doesn't mean that flaming carrot cards aren't worth selling. So I wouldn't sell only flaming carrot cards. You're going to go hungry. I guess you got carrots to eat. But it's a good thing that you can kind of. No, right now I'm at a huge advantage because I have my main store built, which has really good solid inventory, mostly sports. Now I can do even more fun stuff. I have the liberty to do that because I already have so much good strong base stuff there. I can add flaming carrot cards to my second store. I don't give a shit if they don't sell for a year.
Sure.
It's just fun. So that's what I'm doing. And I don't want you to do what I'm doing. I want you to do you and figure out what that is.
You do you.
And you can try some of the metrics. And do I sell the same percentage now as I do when I only had 100 listings? No, you're not going to do that because the more listings you get out there, your percentage is automatically going to drop. Because it's easy to sell one card out of 100 listings versus 100 cards out of 10,000 listings. Because you still need buyers for all those cards.
Right.
Need to get Jerry Powell out before we see anything positive. Who's Jerry Powell?
Fed chairman, right?
Oh, yeah. Not those dock workers.
I think that was one where it had a little bit of political.
Well, yeah, we don't want. Yeah, we want to stay out of that. Keith is here. He says, "What's up, fellas? I picked up 5 subs today. The growth is cool, especially when you're just sharing vids of what you love doing as a hobby. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of how I saw it. I never thought of myself as a YouTuber. I felt like I came in at a time where I had content to add that nobody else was doing, and I thought there was a lot of dangerous content out there taking advantage of people. Um, and I kind of wanted to address that a little bit. That was all I wanted to do. And then, yeah, I started getting subs too and trying to make different videos. And I learned a little bit more about editing and putting in movie clips and just had a lot of fun with it, I kind of as it was growing. And, like I said, I don't make very many dynamic videos anymore because I just don't really have the time to do it. Charlie's right. It's a boat ton of effort to do editing and uploading, and then if I film it with my GoPro, then I've got to download the video, or cloud it and and grab it off of there, and then you got to convert it to an eBay or to a YouTube file, and then you got to upload it, and then you got to make a thumbnail, and you got to do a end card, and you got your intro you got to put in it. Like there's a lot to it, and I applaud anybody who is doing it because I get it. I understand what it takes. Now,
Yeah.
if you're a big YouTuber, what I'll tell you is people will be like, "Oh, Mr. Beast." Mr. Beast doesn't do any of his video, and good for him. Good for him that he doesn't have to. But he's got editors, and then he's got somebody else that he even early on he had somebody he would send the video to, and they would put it all together for him, and pays some company to generate all his thumbnails, and like I don't have that. That's not going to be a option for what my channel does. It's going to be on me to do it. So I can only give what I can give. So
Maybe when you finally hire on that assistant, maybe that can be part of their role too.
yeah, yeah. Well, maybe that you never know. That might be something that'll have to be on the resume in order to get hired. I don't know. But the YouTube thing, for you have to stay within yourself on certain
Yeah.
things too. My channel will never be Mr. Beast like that. I don't make those kind of videos. So you have to understand that what your limits of what you're making is going to be. And even some of the bigger like card content channels that really blew up in the last couple of years, they've receded quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at a video just a day or two ago from Card Collector 2, which is a pretty big channel, and his view over 3 days got like 10,000 views, which is good. I mean, I wouldn't mind 10,000 views on one of my videos, but the same video of that he would have made like 3 years ago would have had like 60,000 views.
Okay.
So you can just tell there's just less people, that are watching. There's less people flipping, looking for the quick buck kind of thing. So I think your videos just kind of recede a bit, to probably more where they should be. Like somebody making I'm buying cards at a card show video probably shouldn't be getting like 70,000 views. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Even if you have a good subscribers, doesn't matter. That's where people get it wrong. They're like, "Oh, I have this many subscribers." No, you need watch hours and you need views. Those are the two things that matter because that's where the ads get placed, and that's what generates revenue, not how many subscribers. You could have 100,000 subscribers, but if only 10 of them ever watch your videos, the subscribers don't really matter. Keith says, "Hey, we got 39 viewers on here. Hit the like button." Thanks, Keith. Appreciate you. Yeah, please. After my whole speech on YouTube, maybe bad timing there, but give us a thumbs up if you enjoy this video. If you're watching it recorded, consider subscribing. Click the bell to be notified of future videos, and it should tell you when we are live. I found out that doesn't always work, but if you subscribe, ring the bell. That's your best your best chance at getting notified when the live is happening as well. Library, church, garage sales, margins should be better. The lower money you go through, ideally. Yes, I would agree. Found a $1 Ted Williams book at Goodwill. It sold for $70 on eBay in 3 days. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start looking at more books. I did find when I was at, gosh, where was that? St. Vincent de Paul's, the
Mhm.
one in Ashwaubenon. This was almost a year ago now, maybe even more than a year ago. But I found some original sheet music to the Packers fight song, the
Yeah.
Go Pack Go one or whatever. And it was kind of cool. It was like 3 pages, and they had shots of like some of the black and white shots of like some of the first teams and stuff in it. And I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. And it was, I don't know, 75 cents or whatever the heck they charged for it. It did have a little like torn, one of the corners had a little piece torn off of it. But it wasn't any of the music. Like it didn't affect any, none of the sheet music, the notes and stuff. That was all there. So I'm like, I'll take a chance on this, and I got like 30 some bucks for that. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool, just for
Yeah.
sheet music, So yeah, I mean, don't limit yourself, guys. If you know about other stuff and can flip it, buy and flip it. I got a Lego set right here that I got at really cheap. It's still sealed.
Does that say succulents?
Yeah, it's the one of their plant series or whatever. I mean, they go like, sealed Lego sealed stuff that's like printing money. They go like $35 plus shipping on eBay, so I'll probably get like $45. So yeah, do other stuff. I've been going to the bins recently. We have a bin store here where you get like fill a shopping cart and they weigh it and it costs you like $10 for like 600 shirts and stuff. And I found some really good stuff there. I found some vintage Tupac shirts and some vintage Disney World shirts, stuff like that sell pretty well. I'm like, dude, they're like 20 cents a shirt.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll buy these and I'll throw them on one of my stores and see if I get a sale on it. So, yeah, anything you can buy with a margin, that's what you want. Her mate, this kind of, he's going to allude to the same thing. I made a trip to the main sorting center for Goodwill for my county, and people had shopping carts overflowing with books to flip cheap. There you go. So, I haven't bought a book in my entire life, I don't think. So books would not be my thing.
Not even in college.
Nope. Don't need those. Couldn't afford them. Let me join the January best month ever. Well, it's my only month.
Yeah.
At least it gives you a bar now, right? Where to shoot. 15 days for pitchers and catchers, I believe. Okay. Stats versus hobby love aren't correlated like everyone wants to think. Exactly. We were just talking about that. Oh,
yeah.
Certain players sell even if they aren't performing. Baseball is for people that still have an attention span, not iPad kids. So baseball was actually always my favorite sport, and the reason is because I'm a statistics freak. I love the numbers, and we're going to put this left-handed pitcher in because he has a 10% better chance at this right-hander. I always love that kind of that chess match part of it. But I think you're right. I think that most people don't want to work that hard at something. They just want to see like, well, this ball gets snapped and this gets thrown over here, and then that's the end of it. There's no real statistical, thought process and stuff going into it. It's just kind of action. And there's nothing wrong with that, but yeah, baseball isn't going to provide as much action.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of downtime. That's the other thing. When I took Luna to a Brewers game a couple years ago, and by the time we got to the 4th inning, she was like, "Is this all that happens?" Like, there's more guys just like standing around playing catch than there is anything else. And I'm like,
right.
Yep, that's kind of how it is. The U curve isn't sport specific. I'd argue that's every sport. Yep.
Fair. I think it's more dramatic in baseball or anything. Yep. The longer the season, I think the more dramatic the curve is.
Yes. Well, that would make sense because it's still on the mind. Otani is a lock with 5 more years of similar production, but not there yet. Yes, I would agree. Yes, Topps Chrome Star Wars. Yep, we talked about that. Do Reggie Jackson cards sell?
Yeah.
I kind of thought they didn't because I had some, over the years. Now, again, remember, I didn't focus a lot on baseball, but I started buying more baseball and getting more baseball in buys. And Reggie Jackson stuff has picked up for me quite a bit. So, yeah, I think they do okay. Scott says books are tough. I generally only list them when I can get them free. I think there's a lot of booksellers. I think it's more competition is probably the bigger issue than anything
Yeah,
else.
you're
I
pretty
mean,
right.
obviously, if you get like a rare book or an autographed book, or there's things that would stand out.
But that's just like low end card selling. You never know when you're going to find a gem, right?
Right.
It's not like you can walk into any Goodwill and walk out with a couple of $400 first edition printings of books, right? Like every once in a while you find one, but that's not every day.
And I would think that the Goodwills are scraped pretty good by resellers, aren't they? So you almost have to get there when they put the books out.
Yeah, that may be. And then you also have the Amazon selling competition. It's kind of like Burbank Sports Cards when they started doing the 99-cent cards, and everyone's like, how the heck are we supposed to compete with that, right? Well, people sell books on Amazon too, and it's kind of a race to the bottom over there. So it is somewhat competitive. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I sell cards and not books, but I'm also glad at the same time that my wife has an opportunity to pursue her own thing that's kind of similar. Like we're going down the same road, but we're in different lanes, right?
And I think it's like anything. She can carve out her own spot, right? She can provide good customer service, maybe find her little niche in books. Maybe she does children's books or, horror books or, something. Find something that kind of separates her out a little bit. And then, and that will definitely help with the sales too.
And she's not only going to do books. She likes to remind me it's books and things and such.
Okay. Well, that's good too. Keep your mind open. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Max says Portman was the only good thing about Star Wars. How do you keep up with packing and sending 300 card sale a day? I'm tired after 20 sales, which has taken me 2 hours. It's not 300 orders, it's 300 cards. So that's part of it. You want to get as many multi-card sales as you can. Because, pulling the cards, but you guys have seen my videos. I can pull the cards pretty quickly. But you don't want to pack 300 single cards. That would suck. So if I have 300 cards that I sold, it might be out of 25 or 30 orders. So I'm not really sending that many packages. It's just you got to, put all the single cards that you pulled out of inventory together and put them into those packages. And then have, your everything's about reducing the time that it takes. So make sure your packing supplies are close to you. Make sure you've got your thermal label printer. You don't want to be addressing things. Make sure that you have things as efficient as you can, as you feel like you can, and then that will reduce it. So let's say I have a 300 card sale day. It does take me probably just about a little bit after lunch. So if I started at 8 a.m. after I get my kid on the bus, probably by 12:30 I'd be done with a day that size. And there are days where it's less too. I might, especially during the week, there's a little bit less. I think today I had 185 cards or something I had to ship, which is still quite a few, but not 300. And those are the days where I do other stuff then. I either do stuff for the household or, excuse me, I try to do more listing, or I do some accounting stuff, or I do some moving some inventory around, or getting things filed, or putting together boxes for a show, whatever. So on those days that aren't quite as busy, now I have 2 stores. So then the other one's starting to add up. I had 22 orders over this past weekend. or 22 cards. It was 18 orders, 22 cards. I'm still selling a lot of single cards over there because I only have 2,000 listings. But that's 22 or 18 orders on top of all the orders on my regular store.
Yeah.
So, but I will never complain about that. If I have sales to pull and ship, that is literally the reason that I'm doing this. So, that's just part of it. I also ship every single day. For all you people who don't want to hear that, I ship every day.
You
Because
do
as soon
not.
as
Stop lying.
I,
You
as soon
don't
as
ship
I,
on the weekends.
no, I don't ship on weekends. That's not a mailing day though. But if you try to just every 3 days I'm going to try to do shipping and you start scaling up, it's just so it can be too overwhelming. There's just too much to do. So just ship every day. Let's see. JR's vintage cards and more. I was curious, do you guys sell common, rookie, and Hall of Fame players, and why or why not? If you do, thanks. Love the channel.
Yeah.
Common, yeah, sure, absolutely. You'd be surprised what we'll sell. Lawrence Phillips autos. A lot of people would skip over those. Great, guys with stories. You got Johnny Manziel. I just sold a refractor, Topps Chrome refractor die cut rookie of Johnny Manziel for like $9. It's crazy. Guy never even really played a snap in the NFL in a regular. I don't think he ever played in a regular season game, did he? I think he played some preseason and then he was bounced.
I think he played in a couple regular season games.
Did he?
It wasn't
Okay.
a whole lot though. Yeah.
But anyway, I guess those are kind of exceptions anyway. But yeah, I would. Yeah, common rookies and stuff. I think it's easier in baseball than any other sport, in my experience.
Yeah.
To sell, I can sell pretty much any baseball card. It's crazy. Like, guys I've never even heard of, and there's people that buy them. I find that much more possible than a bunch of random football players that never really had a career rookies. Those are a little bit tougher to move. Unless it's specific sets, specific teams, like you have some other things that kind of go with that, especially for football. And I'm just speaking from my own experience. Everybody else might be different, but that's kind of what I've seen.
Yeah, I will say modern rookies move a lot more as they get a little more dated. They get more sporadic, sell a little slower. But I always call out, we've talked about this just in the last couple of weeks on this show. Someone had asked, why do I put the RC in parentheses on all my listing titles? Because I think that does matter. I think there are so many cards printed that for some people, you're just focused on the special cards, and that would be their rookie year. And that would be players that got called into the Hall of Fame, right? So absolutely we sell those, and they move. Like I said, I'll sell more Ellie De La Cruz rookies than Craig Biggio rookies in the next month, I'm sure. But those older ones keep selling too. When something comes up in the media cycles and they're like, oh, you remember the Killer Bees and the Houston Astros, and all of a sudden people are looking for Craig Biggio rookies and Jeff Bagwell rookies and Lance Berkman rookies. I had to think about the third one there for a while. And then that'll die down and no one's looking for those again for a while. But then some other media story will come up and somebody starts looking for somebody else's rookie card. So that's how I look at it.
Charlie made a good point. I do the same thing. I put RC in the title for rookies. And when I remember, which it's becoming more frequent than when I started doing it, but I put HOF at the end of listings for Hall of Fame players. Yeah. And I think he's right. That can help you get a few more sales on those players, especially the more obscure ones, right? So if you're listing like Nolan Ryan HOF, does that really make a big difference? I don't know.
Everybody
Ryan
knows
is such a
him
strong
now.
right.
Yeah.
But if you've got like Thurman Munson, you might want to put the HOF on there. It's not quite as big of, I mean, I'm just using that as an example. Don't hate me. Don't, Thurman Munson haters don't hate me, but yeah. So I think things like that can help. I also think sometimes people don't know who's in the Hall of Fame or what is a rookie card of a player. So just going to help some. Oh, it's $2 for that. Oh, and it's his rookie card. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
It might just kind of put them over the hump to make that purchase. No KI show, Charlie. Yes, you're going to the KI show, right?
I'll be
You're going
there.
to?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We were I was saying hello to Max when you stepped
Oh,
away.
gotcha.
And I said, hopefully we'll see you down the road at another card show before our March Goat show. But I did not mention I was going this weekend to the KI show. So Max, if you'll be there, I'm sure I'll see you.
Oh yeah, he'll be there. Joe says, "Waza." True. We're getting to the important game of the year that introduced us to What's Up commercials.
That's right.
Maybe we'll get a new one this year. That would be great. Tim says, thanks for answering my question. You're welcome. Always happy to help. I have hot air balloon cards. Joe, I love you.
Awesome.
Yep. Remember my Winnebago card? Do you remember that I was talking about a couple weeks ago? I got $5.50 for that Winnebago card. So come on, people, be a little bit more. People are beating the hell out of each other for these boxes of ETBs that they can make $20 on, and I'm making $5 on a Winnebago card that I got for free. It's like sometimes you have to think a little bit further than what everybody else is telling you to do. I think that's and I don't want to get into any politics, of course, but I think that's one of the problems in society is we just listen to everybody else. And then we don't do any of our own thinking. We just go, well, this guy said, or this article. No, put in your own efforts on stuff and you'll get much further. Buy water skiing squirrel cards. Why wouldn't you? Peter says he's scanning bulk 70s vintage football, $3 to $4 each, and lots of it. Yep.
There you go.
Those are no-brainers. They don't have a fast sell-through rate. You have to kind of get the right buyers to buy them. But there's definitely margin in it.
As long as you didn't pay $3 to $4 a piece for them.
Of course, yeah. I figured that was obvious, but you're right. That's a good point. Max's books, I always stuck to low-hanging fruit, Stephen King reference books, bought tons of Machinist books, made good money. Full set of Christy Leatherettes sold for $1,200. I know a couple of sellers that sell strictly like car manuals.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that, or catalogs. I know somebody who sells catalogs. So yeah, I think she just kind of has to find, I think like any seller, anything you sell on here, even, cards, we've been talking about that all night here. Find your spot, what gets you in. And as soon as you're selling stuff, someone else is going to sell it. So competition isn't too far away anymore, especially since it's so easy to do everything now. You can easily open an eBay. All you need is internet, which 90% of the households in America have internet.
Right.
Sign up an eBay account. You need a bank account to put the money in, and boom, that's it. That's all you got to do. And now you're an eBay seller. So that's pretty open door for competition. Fine Production is here in response to JR. My theory is if it's a name a fan can easily recognize, it's worth listing. Comics still sell well. It's bread and butter. Baseball is the easiest, but happens in other sports too.
Yep.
Pretty much. Munson is Rookie of the Year. Was he Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Short career.
What idea is selling those ETBs for $20 profit? They were flying in Oshkosh for $130. The current price, when I looked online this morning, I think it looked like they were going for like $110 to $120 on eBay, but that's before fees, of course.
Yeah.
So we were just trying to calculate it out. Like if you had fees and you paid at Target with tax, if you don't have a seller certificate, so you're not getting the tax off, which Target's not going to do that for you anyway. They don't sell to other businesses, I don't think. But you do that, and then if you didn't put shipping in, you got to ship it. So that comes out of your expenses, and then so we were just kind of breaking it down to what give them a blank check for ETBs at 75. Yeah, I think if that's something you're flipping in person, maybe that would get you some more profit. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
And Jordan agrees with us after fees max. I think it's not that much profit. I don't sell much besides bulk and magic singles online anymore. Stuff moves like crazy at shows. No need to take time to list when I can throw it in a tote and put it on a table. Plus Uncle Sam.
That's that's probably a lesson for me on that one, Adam, is I could have just been patient and brought that to the show this Sunday. But clearly I wasn't really thinking about the show this Sunday.
Yeah, you didn't even know we had it. Yeah, that did cause a problem. Yeah, you're right. And that would have got people over to the table and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I like to sell online. That's still my preferred place to do it, and I can build the costs in a lot of the times, and I get a market. If I'm trying to sell a Marquise Grissom rookie card, it's going to be pretty hard for me to sell that at a show.
Yeah.
So I get where you're coming from, Max, and I completely agree on your model. Makes a lot of sense especially when you're trying to move a lot at a time. To go to shows, you're really good at shows. You're good with customers. You have a regular customer base that finds you, seeks you out at shows. I think it's perfect for what you're doing. Isn't there with his hand out at a show? I don't know what that means. I'm listening and must have missed the ETB. What's that? Charlie found an
box.
Yeah, Charlie found an ETB Pokemon box. Yeah, Elite Trainer box. And sold it online. You had some, Charlie. Yes, you did. You had
Max, you missed that part. I had one box I found hidden in a corner at Target as I was walking through, and we were kind of going through. By the time I shipped it out, I sold it I had $125 list price, and we were talking by the time fees and shipping came out of that, I probably made a $35 profit.
Yeah, I think it's probably right around 35. Yeah. I think probably a good mark. And I'm not sneezing at that. I'm not saying you should have turned down. Of course you should have. I would have bought it too and sold it. $35, $35. My point in the whole conversation was these guys are going to beat the hell out of each other and have fist fights.
Yeah.
Over a box to make $35 on. I didn't feel like that's a smart way to spend your time or your pain and your gas money and all those things that it takes you to do all that. Now, Max, you don't do that. You're not sitting at the stores waiting to buy the stuff. You're ordering cases and selling like a normal retailer. But these guys are just like stocking these aisles and then fighting each other over a couple boxes of cards is just weird to me. Moved 154,000 cards yesterday. Whew, that's a lot. Max, you don't do this full time. Yes, I do. I have zero desire to work for anybody else. And that's it. That is the key right there. I think that's what most people are after. They want to be able to do their own thing. Corporations have gotten a bad rap due to their own actions. They don't take care of their employees anymore. There's no loyalty. They don't pay well enough. You don't get a lot of opportunities for growth. They take stuff away from you. They fold and you're fired without a job, regularly. And it's just, I think a lot of people feel like, okay, well, if there's no security in working for someone else, why not work for myself? Easier said than done. It's a lot of work. you're afraid of work, I would suggest not working for yourself. If you don't have any discipline, probably don't work for yourself. But if those things are not an issue for you, if you've got work ethic and everything, yeah, absolutely. Build your own thing. Okay, yes. He does work for himself. Easy profit. It is. I just still don't think it's worth punching a guy. Like, let's say Charlie and I had gotten there at the same time. We both see the ETB and we're going to go running for it. I'm not going to punch him out to get a box of cards I can make $35 on. That doesn't. And they're still working it. You know, you still have to box it up. You got to ship it. You got to, you know, there's still the others. You got to list it. There's all the other things that you still have to do too. Well, ideally, you aren't just grabbing one.
True. I would have
I
loved to
suppose
have
that's
grabbed
true.
one.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Yeah, if you're wrestling over 15 of these boxes, okay, that makes more sense. I pay people to go sit. That's smart. Elite Trainer Box thought the trainer cards were the worst, like getting a checklist card in your pack. Well, it's not just trainer cards.
Right.
They just call it that because it's the type of box. It's like a hanger pack or a fat pack or a mega box. It's the same idea.
Got a little bit of everything to get you kind of started in the game.
Yeah, it gives you like it's almost like a starter deck part of it. I'm scared to try a card show. I don't have a lot of high-end cards. Mostly have vintage, not so much newer stuff. I'd say I have 70s to 2000 mostly. Dude, I would hit your table for sure.
Yeah.
I don't want the ultra modern stuff. You'd be surprised. A lot of people, that's what they're looking for when they come to shows and they can't find it because everybody's just flipping modern stuff. I think you have great stuff to bring to a show. And high end is not, and again, that's why I started this channel. Everybody thought you got to have these $25,000 cards, and you don't. Most of your buyers that go to a card show have $35 to spend, $100 to spend. They're not buying $5,000 cards. So bring your, $1 and $2 cards, and you got some cool stuff, some stuff that not every other dealer has, which probably you would if it's vintage and mid 2000s type stuff. I think you could do really well. And it's a great way to meet other people in your card community and get to know some other dealers. And if a table costs you $20, $50, whatever it is, the worst you could do is not sell anything, and you had a day of fun with cards for $50. There's absolutely things that could be more terrible than that.
Yeah.
That's what drives me. I have 5+ headhunter calls per month with 6-figure offers to go back into my former field. The drive to not have to take those offers is enough. I agree. You'll be fine. After you get one deal done, it will be easy. Yeah, exactly. Nowhere that I heard with people I talked to had any issues. Sure, the first guy took a ton, but that's free market. And yes, trainer cards are the worst. Vintage is all the rage right now. True. Vintage never goes away. No need to be scared to do a show. Do the math and figure it out. What is 8 hours of your time plus a $50 table fee worth? $200. If you bring 2K in inventory, sell to it 10%, you're good. When does vintage include 80s? Vintage is kind of a tough one. To me, it's anything before 1980. And then anything like 1980 to 2012, maybe, like right before Panini came in, to me is like modern. And then anything after that is like ultra modern. That's kind of how I look at it. But a lot of people think ultra modern is like 2018 or newer. So, a lot of it is perspective and when you used to buy cars or what you saw as, like current market versus vintage and stuff like that. So, because I know I've talked to some older guys that their vintage is like pre-war.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy cow, that's pretty old stuff. Like, I don't even see that at shows for the most part. So, it's a perspective.
It is. Like I look at it in baseball in particular. I look at when the business kind of changed, which was more like 82, 83. And then everything started to change. The production runs went up, the cards started to change. And anything pre that is what I informally consider vintage. But to keep things easy, like when I'm listing things in my store, I don't put vintage unless it's older than
Nope.
80.
I don't put. There's no reason for you to add vintage to a listing or anything. It's not because again, there's no defined eras. It's
Yeah.
so just put the year, the brand and the player and the team and stuff like that, and keep it pretty simple. And then it won't really matter if it's vintage or not. To me, the biggest thing about that is listing condition. That's kind of what determines. In my head, that's where I see vintage and not vintage. Like, okay, if this could have all kinds of different condition, if I have one stack here, and they all vary a lot, to me, that's what kind of is vintage.
Yeah.
Just because that's how I have to look at it differently then. Break even, got to try it. I never wanted to either, but once I did, I never looked back. $20 tables, man, I need to get out of Florida. Tables are 75 to 100 here in Tampa. That is a lot of 10-cent, 25-cent cards. Yeah, we generally our general price here, unless it's a smaller show, it's $50 per table. It's generally, and that's what our show costs. So if you want to book for the Goat Show, which we didn't really get to talk about that tonight. We're coming up to the end here, but we are over 60% sold out. Which last month or last show at this time we were at like 20-some percent.
Yeah.
So the show's really, really growing, and we should be able to sell out no problem this time. We still got a few weeks left. But anyway, our tables are $50 for the first table and $40 for the second table. So we thought it prudent to offer a discount to dealers taking multiple tables, and it seems to have been a good play for sure.
How many tables do we have on Sunday? Just one, or are we doing two?
Just one. We're just doing one.
All right.
I think we'll just do one from now on. The $50 fee, and we really want to take time to go shop. I'm really there as a buyer always, and then it's like, oh, can you watch two tables while I'm gone? It's even for the kids, it's pretty easy. You sit at one table, and I can handle your stuff, you can handle my stuff, and it's just simple.
The boys said they want to sell. I actually told them, I said, well, you can have most of my half. I don't know that I'm going to bring much. So
yeah. I'm not a big card show sales guy. That's not really my favorite thing to do. I do have a couple boxes of stuff I'll bring, and I'm sure I'll get some sales, and I'll make more than my table fee, which that's nice. But I do it mainly just to stay part of the community, support another show. We use it to promote our show. We'll have flyers there and stuff. So to me, it's more of a card show, a goat card show expense than it is for me to my business to make a bunch of money. When will it start being vintage? Again, there's no defined timeline. It's not like automobiles where I think once you hit 20 years, it's collectible, right? And then once you hit 30 years, it's vintage. I don't know. There's some things have defined time frames, but
yeah. And some people look at vintage cards that way and say it's X amount of years, but other people don't acknowledge it that way. So it just depends on who you're working with, honestly, and what their personal preference is. Just like rookie cards, right? We can have Victor on someday, and he'll talk for an hour about what's a true rookie card and what's not, even though you're going to see thousands of them badged with RC on it, right?
But who gets to determine that?
Right, exactly.
Who gets to be the authority on that? Mm-hmm. I think, and that's changed a lot over time too, because I can remember let's say it was 1990 Topps, and the player happened to have two. Well, here's a better example: 1988 Topps. Okay, Who's the big rookie in 1988 Topps football?
In Topps football.
You should know this.
Yeah, is that Sanders?
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson, okay.
And Sanders is 89.
Okay.
But Bo has 2 cards in 88 Topps. He has that Raiders card where it's Bo making a run or whatever, and it's like a sideways card and it's him running through. And then he's got the one where he's like sitting on the bench looking over his shoulder, which is the true rookie. That's changed over time. Now that other card of Bo, a lot of people see that as a rookie card. When I listed as a with RC on it.
Yeah.
This is rookie year. It's the first set. They were made at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that look can change over time too. And just because it doesn't have an RC logo on it doesn't mean it's not a rookie card either.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then people are like, well, do insert cards count as a rookie or do they not?
To me, if it's the first year of them being a professional athlete, it's a rookie card.
Yeah, that's usually how I look at it too.
So I try to keep it that simple. And if somebody's like, hey, that's not a rookie card, I'm like, well, then don't buy it as a rookie card. Like, you don't have to tell me how I need to think about it. You need to decide how you think about it.
Yeah.
Go from there. Some people include 1980 Topps baseball because that's when Topps last used the cool old logo. 81 brought more modern changes. That's a good way to look at it. Makes some sense. Yeah, they changed the Topps logo from whatever, that old Topps logo to the new more modern slanted one. So yeah, I could see that being like that's when everything changed. I kind of like 1980 because it's an easy cutoff. Like it's the end of a decade. Most people see 70s and 60s as like older times, and then 80s was more progressive, and you had rock evolved quite a bit. Technology was really coming in, and so to me, it's just like pop culture division wise, 1980 makes some sense. But if somebody else is like, oh no, vintage is everything before 1982, okay, that's fine. That makes sense too. You got to decide. You don't pay income tax in Florida? Quit complaining. Yeah, we got to pay that here. Jordan's laughing at that. Are tables usually provided to you, or do you take your own? You really need to talk to the show promoter and find that out. That's their job, is to get you all the information. Every show we're at where we are, the tables are provided. They should be set up when you get there and everything ready to go. But I've heard of places where they don't have enough tables, or they don't have tables and you got to bring your own. So I certainly wouldn't just assume. I would contact that promoter and say, hey, if I buy a table, what do I got to do? What does this include?
Right.
You also got to look at the size of the table. Something Charlie and I learned pretty drastically, because I never really thought much about it, but we do 8-foot tables at our show, but they're a true 8-foot. And we found out that some other shows, it's said they were 8-foot tables and they really weren't 8-foot tables. And like that's kind of a problem. If you look at one of my super early videos when I was doing setting up at my first card show, I was more Charlie back then. I literally drew it out. I had my 8-foot table and I measured each box and I drew it on the table, and I could put this here because, I try to maximize my space on the table. I thought I was going to be doing a lot of card shows, so I really wanted to get my setup down. Turned out that wasn't my favorite way to do business, but so if you're thinking you're getting an 8-foot table and a 6-foot, you got 2 feet got to chop off of that chart, and that could be a big problem. So yeah, contact the promoter. You're going to need to do that anyway if you want to get a table, get your name on it, and pay and all that. And the list I would ask is how big is the table if they're providing the table. What time is setup time? Because it doesn't matter when the show starts. You need to know when you can get in there. I think those are probably the key ones. I guess how to make payment. If you can pay at the show, or if they want PayPal or Venmo up front, or whatever it is. Those are things you're gonna. Every show is different, so you're gonna have to go over that with them. So prestige score would be considered football true rookies. I mean, if it's a card that was released in their first year of being a professional athlete, yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I would consider them true rookies. Now, there are those that would say if it's not licensed, it is not a true rookie card.
But I disagree with that also. So
Yeah,
to me, it's the production year that matters.
yeah,
I'll clarify that. Unlicensed, but permissible to make cards.
yeah.
There is some licensing there where they're allowed to make the card. A guy
Right.
making, picture cards in his garage just to take advantage of the market. No, I wouldn't consider those rookie cards by any measure. I wouldn't buy them. I wouldn't resell them. I wouldn't do anything with that. But yeah, I figured somebody would come up with this. Max says true rookies are from the base checklist, no inserts, autos, game used, etc. Yeah, so everybody's got their opinion on it. Decide what you think and go from there.
I just don't get into the true rookie versus, a rookie season card. I think if I was a collector, I would care more about that. But as a reseller and just a casual buyer, just to resell, they're all rookies to me. Anything in their rookie year for the big club is a rookie. I do twinge a little bit when I see a player in their college uni with the rookie card badge on it. I want to see him in the big club's uni, but that's just me.
And you don't have to buy that card, like,
Right,
exactly. So that's the cool part. You've got options, and now there's like pre-draft cards, right? So like you've got, Bowman does all these prospects where it's these kids in high school.
Yeah.
Leaf does that too. Now you've got Bowman U for football, and it's these guys are sophomores in college. They're not even entering the draft. Well, is that a rookie card? Is that a pre-rookie card? Is that an XRC? Is that, or is that just an NIL card?
Yeah.
There's lots of different paths. I wish we could just, to some degree, wish we could just have answers for those things. But in the other light, I like the fact that people can make whatever they want out of the cards that are out there. Do you think it's a rookie? Great. Buy it as a rookie card. If you don't think it's a rookie, buy it and don't call it a rookie, or don't buy it because it's not a rookie. Like, no one cares. You just do you.
Yeah.
We need more you do you, I think, in a lot of things. And cards has that. And I think we have to be very careful about getting that taken away. It in a way, it kind of ticked me off when they came up with the RC Shield thing.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to determine which cards get the RC Shield and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you can't really tell me what card's a rookie card and what isn't. So I understand them wanting to simplify for like new people coming into the hobby what's a rookie card and what isn't. But I think that it's just too wild or too wide. It just changes based on different people. And like I said, it's even changed over the years. Like that 88 Topps Bo Jackson, no one would consider that a rookie card, back in the day. Now there's a lot more people are like, well, he's in his Raiders uniform. It's the rookie year. It's 88 Topps. I think that card is actually even numbered before his rookie card. So if you're even going by, well, the other card was printed first, I don't even think that's true. So, I don't know. All right, I think we have to. I think we got to hang it up. I'm ready for a nap. Are you ready for a nap?
Almost 11, man. It's getting late.
Yeah.
I gotta go back to the office tomorrow.
Me too. This office right here. But thanks everybody for watching. Really appreciate you. Everybody for being in the chat. We couldn't do this without you. Those who are watching it recorded, again, we do a live show every Wednesday at 8 Central Standard Time. Be here or be square. You get to determine what a rookie card is if you be on this
Yep.
chat. So that's how you get your say. But until next time, you got anything else you want to add, Charlie?
Just peace out. Take care of each other.
Remember, you can't sell what you don't list. We'll see you next week.